So I started the recording. So welcome to session 43, and I haven't prepared the normal summary, but shall we say that you had entered the Red Carpentry Guild Hall in order to investigate the possible cult activity, which you found. You also found an altar, and you managed to wipe out the cultists in the facility, and you managed with a area of effect spell, managed to keep them from reviving as you took out as you took them all out, and afterwards you buried them, and then you went below about 10 feet into some narrow tunnels and found and then decided to take out the altar. The method you decided to use to take out the altar involved Lumev artifacts, which had potentially more explosive capability than was anticipated. And as we left last session, a giant explosion had occurred. A few of you managed to avoid massive damage. Two of you basically should have died, but the gods saw fit to spare you. So as we begin, you see nothing but white, and everybody except for Oreo, who managed to duck at the base of one of the walls, has been slammed into the back wall, and you're now falling to the ground as debris rains around you, which means that everybody except for Oreo, who had anything non-magical and fragile on you, it is now broken. And
Ooh.
which means that any potions, glass statues, etc., has been destroyed. I'll go ahead and take you to the map.
I was gonna say, shouldn't it be white?
It is white, and as your vision begins to clear ever so slightly, you notice the devastation around you. You also notice that you can't hear anything, and your vision is blurry at best, giving you disadvantage on all perception checks. And as you look around, you can see the sky above. You can you can see that the heat from the explosion caused the crates in the courtyard that managed to survive somehow, and the building around you to catch on fire. You can see that much of the back of this building has collapsed, and you can see the giant crater where the artifacts were originally placed. And as you are still prone, starting to assess your situation, the debris begins to fall. So I'm going to need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw. Oreo, you manage to avoid the falling debris, as does Ragu and Pico. However, Davak takes 9 points of damage as a large hunk of stone that used to belong to the courtyard above lands right on his head.
Can
And
I
he is
see
now
him?
unconscious.
Can I see him from there?
Yes, just
I will
barely
rush.
through the smoke and the blurriness.
Can I move the thing from on that's ob-
Yeah,
obstructing him or
you can
okay, so
definitely
I
you push it off. Yeah.
and then you said that I'm the only one who still has stuff on me, so I will take out a potion of healing it and just put it down his throat. Just get him up.
Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
Eric Alvarez, is that you?
Hold on, let me see the I think
No, my
it's
friend, but it seems like
Oh,
it.
This is Aragorn, Oregon. Never mind. Of course.
I think it's
Devak,
this.
he's still thrown
Okay.
for a loop. Devak is down. Can you get him up?
So
So
I
get
have to pick him up.
yeah.
I
Oh, go ahead.
so Devak add 10 points to your hit points.
Okay.
So Devok, you are at 10 hit points because you don't actually get negatives in D&D. So you're at 10 hit points. However, you are still unconscious, so you can make a Constitution saving throw if you wish to remedy that. Remedy that.
Okay.
How
If not, I'll
cloudy is
throw
the
him over my
sky right
shoulder and
now?
fireman carry.
It actually that's a good question. Let me check. It is not cloudy at all. The what you see blocking the sky is the smoke from the fires and the building around you.
That's not what I meant by cloudy. I'm talking about debris field.
Um, Around where you are, you see debris everywhere. There's dust in the air. There is smoke from the fires above. Your visibility is maybe 10 feet.
10 feet. Um,
Well, actually, no, I take that back. You have your dark vision and everything. Make that about 30 feet.
all right. Now, is that more upward specifically?
No, that's more around you horizontally. Upwards, you can see the sky.
All right. Well, I guess if at least I have my bearings, I'm going to hurry up and try and move towards the. So, based on all this, it looks like there's plenty of ground exposed, right?
Yeah. So basically, what's happening here is that you guys are still in the tunnels that beneath, and this courtyard is 10 feet above that. And so you can see that a lot of the courtyard is collapsed inward, forming kind of ramps. And so yeah, you got kind of these ramps that go that 10 feet.
Um, Crap. Okay. Well, this is looking like a Plan B scenario.
And Devok is still unconscious.
I pick him up. I'll just get him over my shoulder.
Do I still hear stuff coming down? Well, no,
You don't
he's
hear
still
anything.
Okay. Well, as soon as I get in range and can see everybody, I'm going to go ahead and, in the closest earth right next to them, I'm basically summoning some cave badgers.
You're
Uh,
kind of
Okay.
breaking up there, Dave. We didn't hear you.
I could hear
what
him.
was that?
Oh, is it just me having problems here? Let me try connecting.
Sorry, I can't hear if you're asking me something.
I think he cut out. Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon some cave badgers. Based on their CR, I can actually do 8 of them. So sure, why not? I'm going to summon 4 of them right here next to everybody. I'm going to summon 4 of them here.
Okay.
And, oh, actually, yeah. I'm immediately going to instruct them to burrow their way south under the building. Actually, no, I take that back. Southwest.
Okay.
And I am going to mentally tell everybody, get in the burrows these guys are digging. I am also going to turn into a cave badger so that I can fix my senses. And I'm going to go ahead and start burrowing that way as well.
Does a cave badger have normal hearing?
I would assume so. It's a normal mammal.
In that case, as soon as you turn into a cave badger, all of a sudden it gets very, very loud. You can hear there's still rubble raining to the ground. You can hear the sounds of fires all around you. You can hear the sounds of screaming probably coming from the streets, and the sound of footsteps as also coming from the south. Lots of people.
So again, mentally to everybody, okay, let's move. And I'm going to go ahead and start basically working my way this way. A cave badger's got a burrowing speed of 15, so especially if I dash, we should be able to, in the space of, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, we should be able to get to about here.
Okay, so just to be clear, you are burrowing underground. He's basically digging tunnels underneath, and then how large are these tunnels?
Um, Badgers are medium-sized creatures, so they should be, or the cave badger is a medium-sized creature, so it should be about the same size as us. The stat block does specify that when they burrow, they leave tunnels behind them, so people should be able to follow through in this. Plus, I've got four of these, so you figure four of them digging together, plus me, we should be able to make a comfortably sized tunnel for this purpose, as well as going faster since we're kind of sharing the labor.
Okay, so you're digging that.
Oh, and that's half of them. The other four, I wanted them to dig north about, say I wanted them to start about here. And then I wanted them to go ahead and dig north about 30 feet and then kind of dig up until they hit cobblestones.
Okay, fair enough. So your badgers dig. Davak is unconscious. So Oreo and Ragu, what are you doing?
I mean, we were given
Um,
instruction. I'm gonna go into the holes.
Okay, and
yeah, I'm
Ragu?
gonna get Vok over my shoulder. Just fire him and carry him. He's light enough that he doesn't encumber me, so I can grab Davok and get into the hole pretty quick too, right behind Oreo.
Okay, fair enough. So you start dragging Davak into the hole, and as you're moving, you can you get the sense you can kind of see like dirt raining down from the tunnels, and so the sense you're getting is that there are a lot of people moving around up above. All right, so you've dug down to there. So what are you doing?
All right, so we're going to continue to dig over to about this corner here, kind of carve out a space. Okay, I don't know how everybody else is. I'm going to continue to do this mentally. We've got two options. We can either just ditch out of here, or we can try and recover that chest. If we want to get the chest, we can try and dig underground towards it, or we can pop up above. Thumbs down for bolt. Wait, no. Okay.
And by the
First
way,
question.
are you saying this out loud?
No, I'm saying it mentally.
Okay, go ahead.
So first, who wants to bolt? Thumbs up for bolt, thumbs down to get chest.
Oreo puts a thumbs up.
Thumbs down. We need that information. It's got all the incriminating evidence in the chest. Otherwise, we're just terrorists for blowing up a building.
I can't hear you. She's still putting thumbs up.
Hello?
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
no. She can't literally hear you. Remember?
Oh, yeah,
there's
that's
no...
right, because we're all deafened.
Yes.
Yeah.
I point thumbs down. Oh, wait a second. I've got the ring. I can reply to you psychically, too, right?
You are an animal,
I
so he
remind-
can't talk to you as an. Is it psychic? I don't actually remember.
Yeah, can I talk? I know he's talking to me psychically. Can I communicate back to Pico psychically, and he can disperse any information?
Oh, even though you can't hear him, you can still talk. Yeah, so yeah, you can
Okay.
definitely talk to him. An animal.
Well,
All
you
right,
can do
I'll
it
go
in
ahead
normal
and say-
common. I can hear.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, you can just talk to him. It's
Okay.
just it'll sound weird because when you can't hear yourself, obviously that sounds odd, but you can still do it.
Yeah,
So everything you just said, Pico heard, but Oreo didn't.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
it's like, if Pico wants to remind everybody of that, that's fine. I was just throwing it out there.
Okay, Ragu wants to stay. You want to bolt. Devok's probably going to need help getting out. Has he woken up by now?
He can make
No, he's
another
unconscious. I
saving
have
throw.
it over my shoulder.
Okay.
If you get at least a 15, then uh, no, he's not woken up. He's out. He's out cold.
Okay. Luckily, he's light enough I can carry him over my shoulder.
Yeah, but if you're sticking around, oh shoot, the staff just showed up. Okay, well, um, what do we got in the way of healing?
One healing potion.
All of my stuff is broken.
Okay.
If we stay down here, if we stay down here and burrow out from across the street or something, I trust you can do that. I can bolt over and grab the chest, and then
I say we
your
need to
other badgers
both
that were up there can
because
tunnel us down.
she'll keep going. Because we don't know who's following us, and even though you set up some sort of what looks like a decoy with the other badgers, we literally don't know how much time we've got. So we need to move. We can't go back. That's what she's saying.
Um,
You,
let's see. This yard has a fence. It looks like.
Uh,
Oh, in fact, it looks like there are bushes too.
yeah, there's bushes and a fence. Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna dig up and then just get a peek outside.
Okay, you peek outside and you see a whole lot of guards, as well as various people that I think you saw them when you were coming in, tending to their various guilds, and of course you probably will notice the. At least some of the people who left the guild hall, and since you can hear some conversations, but among what you hear, and we gotta organize and search for survivors. Is one thing you hear, and the other thing you hear is, yes, we need to investigate the cause of this. This is unprecedented damage in a short period of time, and so on. And they seem to be forming. They seem to be forming parties in order to do various tasks. And of course,
I think I've,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What's up with this
oh,
guy?
go ahead.
He's the guy who seems to be in charge of the soldiers. He's the one giving orders and going back and forth, talking to various groups, including dealing with the civilians and trying to get a sense of what's going on.
I think I've got this. I think I can do this really quick. We're in a tunnel, right? From from where we were over to this little corner here is where we dug so far, right? So this is all a tunnel.
Yeah, basically where I'm at right now is where I would have brought us up.
Okay. I leave Devok. I kind of hand him over to Oreo and said,
Mm-hmm.
just a moment before they get in past all the wreckage of the building. And I run down the tunnel. And when I get to where the tunnel starts, I will cast invisibility.
Okay, you cast
Run
invisibility.
across as an run across as an invisible ghost, just a puff in the smoke, and quickly try and grab or dig out that chest of
Okay,
gold.
so you make your way. You're invisible, and you make your way to the building. The side is collapsed, so it's not hard to get in. But currently, the inside of the building is on fire, and so you. I'm assuming you're entering to find the chest.
Yeah, I just went through the same hole we came out, or that we got out from. So
Yeah,
I didn't pass these
and
guys.
now you're entering the building to find the chest you left behind, right?
Well, actually, I had badgers dig north 30 feet and then dig up to try to hit the cobblestone. So those tunnels are available too.
All right. But yeah, if I can just pull a couple of bricks or whatever and grab the chest, I can disappear down the tunnel again before
Yeah, because
anybody
my
gets
understanding
into the
is
center of the wreckage.
your chest is up toward this direction, toward the back door where you left it. And so basically, you would have to go through the building in order to get to there. So is that what you're going to do?
Well, my understanding
Yes.
is that we put the chest outside.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's
Oh, okay.
outside. So you'd have to go through the building to get through the front door.
Okay, crap. I thought it was inside, not outside. All right, yeah, I'll just run through. I've got fire resistance. I should be fine.
Okay, so you're
I
running
would.
through, and
Sorry.
the smoke is thick, and there are timbers falling. So I'm going to need you to do two things. One is to make a Constitution save for the smoke inhalation, and the second is a Dex save to avoid falling, flaming fire or wood.
Ready?
Okay, you manage to hold your breath before you go in, so the smoke doesn't affect you. Let's see if you can avoid the beam, flaming beam, falling on top of you, which you cannot. So it lands on your
Okay.
shoulders, doing 19 points of damage as it burns you, and you manage to shrug it off, but not without severe pain and burns. And after
All right.
that, you manage to make it outside. Go ahead.
Is any part of that 19 fire damage?
Um, I would say probably half of it's fire damage. We'll call it
All right. So
9 points. So if you're taking half of that, so that would be what, 4? So you take 14 damage
14
instead
or
of 19.
15.
So
All right.
14
Yeah. Cool.
because of your fire resistance. Good call.
Yeah.
Let me just type it just in case. There you go. All right, so yeah, you make it outside. It looks like the guards haven't making their way out here yet, although. Oh, actually, I
I know they're
guess you
coming
wouldn't.
quick.
You still can't hear, so you wouldn't know this. But yeah, they haven't made it out here yet. You don't see them. So what do you do?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to go ahead and cast a couple of Cure Wounds. This first one's going to be for Oreo, and you're going to get 14 points back. The
Okay.
second one is going to be for Devok, and that is going to be good for 8 points.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point in time, Devok, you are now conscious. With this last healing and the amount of time that's passed, you groggily, you're just laying there, and you groggily see the sky above you, and you're not sure how you got here.
Interesting.
Okay. Now that I've got the chest, I'm just gonna get back into the hole and back down to where everybody else is.
Is the
Okay.
Vox
When I pick up
senses
the chest,
normal?
what's that?
Sorry. No, I'm just asking Jeremy, is the Vox senses at least normal now?
No, he
No,
still can't
he.
hear,
Oh,
and
okay.
his
Uh,
vision is still blurry.
Never mind.
It looks like whatever damage the senses, the spell is healing it to what it thinks is normal, but this will take restoration magic.
That's nice.
Mentally, to both of you, if you need to send messages to each other, I can read lips and relay the message.
All right, Ragu, you managed to stuff it all into one chest. It's rather heavy, though, so I'm going to have you make a strength check.
me?
Um,
No, I meant Ragu.
Oh, okay.
He's the one trying to carry a big chest through a hole.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
so you managed to make your way through the hole he dug, and I'll just say that you continue going through. And though one thing you noticed that as you were leaving, you noticed that there were, as just as you were entering the tunnel, a couple of guards had made their way through the front entrance and into the courtyard. But you had managed to get to the tunnel before they got in there.
all right.
Um,
When I'm thinking here, when I get about halfway, um, maybe a little less than halfway, but like if the tunnel's like here, by the time Rasiri got to back here, he can throw one fire grenade to the front of the tunnel just to collapse it so people don't find it right away in the debris.
Okay, you can do that. Is that what you're going to do?
Yep. And then I just continue running and then get back to here just like before.
Okay, as you go and you run, you throw the grenade, and the last thing you see is one of the guards looking toward the entrance as it gets blown. Um, and you don't know what happens after that.
Yeah, well, the guard couldn't see me. He just saw a
He just
hole.
saw the explosion and the tunnel collapsing. That is correct.
All right. Cool.
So go ahead and move yourself back with the others if you haven't already.
I am.
Okay, good.
Okay. Do you guys feel confident to come up here? Or should we go ahead and dig further away?
I think maybe a little further away. We are in the opens here. Maybe get in
Okay.
down past an alley or something.
Um, yeah, I guess that being the case, which direction did we originally approach from to get to this place?
You originally came from way over here. Yeah, way over there.
Oh, so okay, so we approached from the east.
Yeah.
Do I remember seeing any yards or anything like that on the way in?
The Guildhall district does seem to have more yards than a lot of the rest of the city, so yeah, I would say so.
Ew, the guild? Uh-uh. Well,
Yeah,
that's you.
shoot. I'd rather dig away from that then. Shoot, let me see something here.
Let me go ahead and take you to the
Can you give
map,
us the
actually.
map?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
since you guys are underground at this point anyway. All right, so currently you guys are there where the Guildhall district is, which isn't the same as where the Nexus Guild is, despite the name. The Nexus Guild is here at 6. You guys are, which they have basically that whole district, whereas you're in the Guildhall district, which is there at 19. All right.
I see kind of west by southwest right here. There's looks like an area with more open stuff. Maybe dig to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
not too
how
terribly far
how
off.
is it exactly you know which way you're going?
Um,
I mean, because I realize you can just follow your tunnel, but it's easy to veer just a little and be off course. So what are you doing to keep course?
hmm. Unfortunately, the spell that probably would have been most useful for that, I don't actually have prepared right now.
Okay. Well, if you don't have anything specific, you can just give me a navigation check, which, if you don't have any special skills, would probably be survival.
All right. I'm gonna give myself some expert guidance on that. 13.
If I can help in any
Okay.
way, I can try.
Right.
I take that back. No expert guidance because I'm still a badger.
Fair enough. So it's a 10. All right. You think you're going the right way. So how long are you going to travel for?
Let's
See.
Well, basically, I'm going to stick fairly close to the surface, so and I can periodically try and work my way up. So I figure I'd probably go at least 100 feet or so. I mean, it's kind of, well, actually, based on the scale of this map, city width is 3 miles, 1.5, 3/4. Wait a minute, no, yeah. So that's 1.5. So there's 3/4 of a mile. Oh, we're only going like a couple, maybe like a couple hundred feet at most.
Okay.
Basically, I'm just going to dig roughly in that direction for about a couple hundred feet. And I'm going to stay near the top. So if I'm going across buildings with wood or stone floors, I should be detecting that. And then if I start seeing heavy roots, that'll probably be a good place to dig up because that'll indicate fairly sizable plants.
Fair enough. So yeah, after several minutes of digging, you get as far as you think you need to, and when you come up, you manage to come up in what looks like some sort of park or other natural area. And somehow or another, perhaps the luck of the gods, you actually manage to go in a straight line. That's what that D6 was for, by the way.
Ah. Um, okay, well, given that it's around midnight or a little after that, I guess, I mean, I'm not seeing any activity in the park if I look around.
No, the park looks fairly normal. If you look back the direction you came, you can see smoke in the sky, and so pretty much anybody close, in the neighborhood is going to notice that, and that's the big point of interest right now.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and at our exit point, I mean, actually, how big are the bushes? Are we well concealed coming up out of here?
It's a park, so there's trees, there's bushes. You can find a set of bushes to come up if you want.
Yeah, I'll aim for that. Then have yeah, somewhere concealed. Have everybody come up out of the hole.
Okay.
Actually, before you step out, I tell you because again I can't hear. Does anybody here have a way to clean us up as we get out?
Um, Ragu, mentally to Ragu. Do you have prestidigitation? Thumbs up for yes.
Thumbs up.
All right, actually, I guess I could have just read your lips, but yeah, how about you, Devok? Do you have prestidigitation?
I think so. Let me look though. Yeah, I do.
Okay, three of us have it. We should be able to clean up, no problem.
Cool.
Um, all right, so I'll go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and come up out behind the bushes. I'm then gonna have the badgers bury the hole so that our exit's covered here, and then we'll figure out what to do here in a moment.
So as you come up, you notice that you just happen to notice in one of the nearby trees that there's this kid that seems to be sitting on one of the branches. He hasn't noticed you guys yet. He's just kind of looking around, but he looks like he's trying to stay hidden.
Okay, he hasn't noticed us, but he's trying to stay
He's
hidden.
trying to stay hidden, yeah.
How far away?
Maybe 20 feet.
Alrighty, I was going to dismiss these badgers, but I think I've got an idea then. I'm going to go ahead and send the badgers to start noisily rooting around underneath the tree he's in.
Okay, so you do that. The badgers are over there and making a bunch of noise, and the kid is looking down, and you see him making shooing motions at the badgers. And then maybe 30 seconds later, you hear an adult voice. All right, Jimmy, it's time to go home. Where are you? And then you see this woman kind of walk into the park from a nearby street, and start heading toward the tree with the badgers. What do you do, if anything?
All right. I'll go ahead and have them make a
Duck.
little bit more of a ruckus, but when if the lady approaches and tries to shoo them off, I'll just have them go run off into some bushes,
Okay, so
kind of away from us, so that that's where they'll be paying more attention.
fair enough. So meanwhile, the rest of the group is trying to stay hidden. So go ahead and give me a group stealth check, and you. This is hiding if you have a special skill.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think I'd be rolling at a flat, even though I've got the boots on me, because I mean, I can't really rationalize how I'm hiding compared to the rest, so I think I'm just gonna roll flat.
That makes sense. And in fact, pretty much everybody's got disadvantage on perception, which probably also doesn't help. So yeah, nobody has advantage on the roll, even if you normally would.
I think you would actually be rolling against camouflage for this.
Yeah, camouflage is what I meant to say. Sorry about that.
It's the same bonus.
That's fine. We'll keep it
Okay.
there. Okay. Okay, and then Devant, go ahead and roll yours for good measure.
Okay, 1 second. Can I? Okay, I can roll tail.
Yeah, so it's camouflage or regular stealth. Okay, so yeah, as the woman approaches the tree, and then you can see the kid trying to be hidden, and then he says, "I can see you in there. Come down right this instant." And then he finally climbs down, and she roughly takes him by the arm and starts dragging him out of the park. So a few moments later, they're gone. So what do you do?
Okay, once that's done, I guess we can go ahead and get everybody up and out of the hole. Actually, how close were we to the Sudaga ward?
The Sudaga ward is number 20 over here, so it's probably roughly a 5-minute walk.
All right, well, Devok, we're going to have to get you home anyway. So, I mean, I know we're in kind of bad shape right now, but I really think we should at least do something about those cultist initiates. They're supposed to be, around this time they were coming back, and I'd rather not have anybody alive to know that something went wrong from that sort of thing.
I do not know if we can handle even weak initiates right now.
Well, remember they're not immortal, and if the situation looks bad, we can just leave.
I can't hear any talking. So what are you guys gonna do?
Last I heard, Ragu was saying he didn't think it was a good idea.
Okay, it sounds like the
Sounds
rest of the
good.
group needs to pipe in then.
Arya doesn't want to fight at all. Like she
Yeah.
does, she really beaten up. Like she's at the point right now she just like she is very confused at everything that just happened. So she has little desire to try and fight anything right now.
Same, especially given my current condition.
Oh yeah, especially since we can't hear.
Fair enough. Okay, well in that case, we'll go ahead and drop Vok off at home. Um, Ragu, Oreo, you guys okay to make it home?
Do not.
Yeah. And you're
Okay,
not coming with?
not just yet. I really want to check in on that. Don't worry, I'll have escorts though.
Okay,
All right.
so just to make sure I have this clear, Devok is going home, and Oreo and Ragu are going home. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then Pico, you're going to the tunnels.
unless Ragu
Uh,
decides otherwise. I don't know if Ragu you're deciding to stay.
I really do not want you to go, my friend. But uh, I cannot let you go alone.
well, I won't be
Oreo, is there
alone.
any way? Yeah. Oreo, is there any way you can get this trunk to our apartment building? I really can't move.
Can I, Jeremy, with a strength of 10?
Sorry, say that. What is it you want to do?
Can I carry a big ass chest that takes Ragu all of his strength, but I've got
No.
a strength of 10?
Well, you can, but it'll be like it'll be dragging it down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take you forever to get home.
How about you guys stay here with Devok, and then I'll go check on this. Um,
Uh, as much as I don't want to fight, I do not want you to go alone. I do not
I
even
can
have charge
stay
to keep you
put with
company.
the Vok and the chest if you guys are gonna do that.
Okay.
Now that said, Oreo and Devok, if you work together, one person on either end, you could carry it. But it'd be like two people carrying heavy luggage or a heavy object.
Actually, does the Vok, I guess out of character, do you have your the place you've got at home? Is it just like another apartment like we do at the guild area, or not the guild,
It's
the apartments that we call them?
it's
Is
basically
it you have a similar
it's
spot?
a tenement room,
Yeah.
so it's like an apartment room. Yeah.
Is there it would it? I mean, could we temporarily put the chest there with you and nobody would be snooping around or anything?
Sure.
well, he'd be there anyway, so
Yeah. So I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, we'd carry it to his apartments, not to ours.
Okay, so all right, so Devok and Oreo are carrying the chest together to.
well, we'll all do that part of it.
Okay, so you're all going to Devok's, or sorry, yeah, Devok's apartment with the chest, and then you're gonna drop it off. Okay, so you do that. You make it to the Sudaga ward. Are you trying to be stealthy, or are you just walking down the street like normal?
I think it is best if we just look like normal people right now.
I
So
agree.
she sees us
Yeah, I
ignore
think so
suspicious.
too. Yeah.
I couldn't hear what he said. What did he say?
Act normal.
Okay. All right, so you walk down the street. Every once in a while, as you're, as you're going along, you'll see some guards pass by. They appear to be coming from the potentially the garrison. and moving probably toward. Well, you can probably figure that out where they're going, but they don't. For the most part, they don't bother you. Although there is one guard that who seems to be asking around, and he just finishes talking to some civilians, and then as you're moving down the street, he turns to approach you. What do you do, if anything?
Just stay calm. We've prestidigitated ourselves clean so we don't look like we're in an explosion.
Yeah, the problem is we can't
Um,
hear.
I'm gonna pull
Yeah.
my, I'm gonna go ahead and pull my badgers off to the side, and then we're just gonna go ahead and just charge past that guard's path.
Okay, you're just going to charge past him. All right. So as you go, you hear Pico him saying, "Wait, I have some questions."
No, I'm a badger.
Yeah, but you hear him. Oh, okay. So
Oh,
back up. Who's charging past?
me and the badgers.
What's everybody else doing?
We're still walking
Unfortunately,
calmly,
everybody else
yeah.
cannot hear
Okay,
Correct.
and walking
fair enough.
calmly.
All right, so you're running past him with the Badgers. What are you trying to do to him, if anything, or are you just trying to get his attention?
I'm just trying to charge past the badgers, like, what the heck's going on, kind of thing.
Okay, so anyway, so yeah, he sees these giant badgers running past. He's like, "What the?" And he turns around, and you see him start walking after the badgers, or actually running after the badgers. So what are you guys doing while he's doing that?
How close are we from the
We just
ward?
keep going around
Yeah.
to Devok's apartment as
Okay,
quickly
you
and
keep
obviously
going,
as possible.
and Pico, this guard is running after you and the Badgers. He's got a torch in one hand and a sword in the other. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to instruct the badgers to split up and burrow. I'm going to do the same thing, and then pop up somewhere else, and then go ahead and bolt back towards where everybody was.
Fair enough. So as you go and you burrow, you see the last thing you see is the guard kind of show up at the tunnel, and it's like, "Wow, those are some large badgers. What the? We have some sort of infestation in this city." And then that's the last you hear as you burrow away. All right, so Oreo and Ragu and Devok, you make it to Devok's place. And Pico, you show up in another, kind of burrow up in another park. Um, you don't know where everybody else is at the moment. So what do you do?
If I don't see them, I'm going to carefully move along. I'm going to assume that they went to Devok's place and work that way.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, everybody has now arrived at Devok's place.
All right.
Okay, so you're now at Devok's place. So what are you going to do from there?
Oh, actually, I guess I could have followed my smell, although this worked just fine anyway. Um, all right, so once we're here, shoot, this is kind of quickly. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'll have to burn a third level spot. I'm gonna cast Lesser Restoration on myself to get rid of the deafened condition.
You do so.
hmm Um,
Your vision is still a bit blurry, but you can hear perfectly normally.
yeah. Um, I'm sorry I can't do anything about the rest of your deafness right now. However, I do have the ability to, when I come back, I'll have the ability to deal with the deafness so that everybody will be able to hear. But I'm going to need help getting home because I'm going to be wiped out when I do it. But yeah, so for now, Oreo, Devok, and I guess you can stay. Ragu, were you planning on staying, or
Nah, I cannot let you go alone.
again? I'm not going to be alone, but
I know, but still, If you get knocked unconscious, your other friends just disappear and you're still screwed. So I'll go.
All right. So
If you happen to have one last healing potion, all of mine have discharged.
I'll give you mine. The last one I've got.
Thank you. I will make us more, but thank you.
No, it's all good. That's what they're there for.
all right. Well, in that case, we'll go ahead and make our way to the tunnels.
Okay. I'll go ahead and move you to the map.
I'll let you roll, Tyler, if you want
Okay.
to take it right now.
Um.
2d
Actually, I'll
4
hold.
plus 2, if you're gonna use it.
Yeah, so that's where
Okay.
they should be.
Actually, I will. I will take it with me, but I'll hold on to it because I don't know if I have to use it for me or
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Pico.
Um, Actually, I'm gonna take advantage of some healing that I learned about recently.
While that's going
So,
on, I will say, and I'll probably oh, shoot. I guess I should have used Pico before he left to kind of talk to Tobak, because she's like so out of it and like just exhausted. She's gonna ask if it's okay if she just crashed there with him for the night.
W-
I'm gonna leave first thing in the morning, but I just can't. She's really tired.
We'll assume you asked that before Pico left. So Davak, what's your response?
Can I
sorry,
hear?
what was your question?
The
Um,
question is if Oreo can crash at his spot for the rest of the night.
If I can hear,
Oh,
the answer is yes.
okay. I'll mentally relay that. So you'll hear me say it, then you say yes, and then I say, yes.
Sweet, she's
Um,
just gonna collapse on the ground. Just
so,
knock out.
and wonder what she's going to do about her singed fur.
all right. So Ragu and I make it to the tunnels.
Oh wow, how'd you heal up so much?
Something I learned about real recently. So I went ahead and ended up casting Goodberry, and interestingly enough, it turns out that there's kind of this mechanic. So when you're using the effect of the moon sickle, that whenever you cast a healing spell and it gives you a bonus, it turns out it applies to all instances of the healing there. So I got really lucky on the roll.
Okay. Wow.
Granted, I won't
So
be able to do
each
that again today.
so each good berry did 5 points of healing instead of one,
In this one
and you could
case,
and you couldn't hand one or two over to me. Thanks. Appreciate it.
um, okay, fine. Here's one good berry.
One. Thank you.
Well, 9 is what it would take to go from 1 to 46 with that circumstance.
That was pretty funny, Ragu. All right.
10 good berries, each healing 5 is 50 points. So
Anyway, you make your way into the tunnels. This is the entrance that comes from the Sudaga ward, from what you remember. So, what do you do from there?
All right, let's see. Get my bearings here. All right. Mentally to Ragu, you're going to want to stay close since I'm the only. Wait a minute. No, I'm not the only pair of ears down here. I am going to go ahead and summon 4 apes.
4 apes.
Yep.
All right. Come on. So, do I have any apes? Probably not. Let me go ahead and find an ape. Alright, D&D. Creatures. I do not have any apes, of course. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do a proxy ape for now. We'll do zombies. They're actually apes, but whatever. I have not created any ape icons. Okay.
All right, and I'm going to have first off, I'm going to have them each pick up a handful of rocks, and we'll go ahead and let me quick look down here.
Okay, as you head to the south, you don't hear or see anything unusual beyond the water.
Okay. Back up. Okay, everybody keep close to me. And then I'm going to double check down. Okay, we'll definitely want to stay away from the water. This was where we, found that little hidden passage.
What did you instruct the apes to do?
Follow me
Okay,
and hold on to their rocks.
all right. Okay, as you come around, you hear what sounds like a scuffle to the south, although it's very muffled.
Ragu, there's a scuffle. Stay quiet. I'm going to go ahead and carefully stealth up.
Okay, go ahead and give me your stealth check.
All right, I think that'll work.
Yep. Okay, go ahead and continue.
Okay. Oh, this does not look great. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and carefully peek around the corner.
So as you peek around the corner, you can see two cultists, and you can see that one of the cultists is stabbing what looks like one of those initiates, and the initiate is falling to the ground, and the cultist will say, "This is what you get for your betrayal."
And there's just the one cultist?
There are two, actually, but one of them is just out of view.
All right.
But you know there's two because you can hear the voices.
All right. Well, in this case, let's see. I'll back up a little bit mentally to Ragu. Two cultists. They're taking care of the initiate problem. I'm thinking about ruining their day with these apes. So I'm going to tell the apes to charge into battle. Well, actually, I'll wait. You said I can see one of the cultists?
Yeah,
That they're,
yeah, you can see this one.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell the apes to go ahead and run in and basically attack all the cultists, starting with focus on this one first. So what I want them to do is first move into range and then all throw their rocks at him.
Okay, fair enough. And in that case, I will have you guys roll initiative. The apes will go on your turn.
Am I there?
You are not there.
Okay.
You are with Oreo.
That's what I thought. Just making sure.
All right, I guess that is everybody. So we're talking around one, but obviously we're going to skip past the cultists because your apes haven't run in yet, so there's no reason for them to do anything. So that means it is your turn, and you told the apes to run into range and throw their rocks, right?
Yes.
So what is their rock range? Do you know?
Their range is 25 to 50 or 25, 50 feet. So 25
All right,
normal,
1, 2,
50
3,
with
4,
disadvantage.
5. Okay, so we will wait. Where are the rest of them? What the heck? There should be. All right, hold on. I apparently left the rest of the apes behind. All right, here we go. So they run in within range, and then they throw their rocks. You had 4 apes. All right, so let's do that. So there's, for their point of view, there are 2 cultists, and 2 of them are within range of one, 2 are in range of the other. And I didn't remember you saying specifically which cultist to attack. You said attack all the cultists.
I told them all. Well, starting with this one.
Okay, you did tell them to start with that one. Okay,
Yeah.
that changes things then. All right. All right, so I'll go ahead and start that. So they're throwing rocks, so we'll give.
Now, where are the apes related to them?
They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, there. So they're here.
Okay.
All right. So if they're throwing a rock, then that means that they would use their strength bonus, since it's a strength-based weapon. So the first one misses, the second one misses, the third one hits, and the fourth one hits.
Just to verify. Oh wait, you're
Oh,
rolling
I'm rolling
regular.
for
Yeah.
zombie. I'm sorry. Do they have a rock throw as a basic attack?
Yeah, it's a +5 to hit, but based on the way it looks like the first two would have missed with the basic
Okay,
rolls
so go ahead
anyway.
and you can go ahead and roll damage for that then, for the two that hit.
Okay, so I'm just going to roll it all at once. It's a d6 +3 for each. So I'm going to roll the 2d6, and then we'll add 6 to that.
Okay.
Oh, wow. 10 points.
Okay, so the first one's 10. Oh, that's all
All
of
right.
it? Okay.
Then what I'm going to do is, let's see, it's a level 1 spell, right? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cast Hex on that same cultist, and I am going to put out my hand and launch Eldritch Blast at him.
Go for it.
As soon as I find on my list, there we go. First one hits, second one does not, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure. 1 plus, holy crap, is a crappy opening round. 2 points.
Okay, he takes 2 points. Is that the end of your turn? You can still move if you want.
I'll stay right here for the time being.
All right, Ragu. You know there's cultists around the corner. Actually, you don't, unless Pico motioned it, because I forgot you can't hear.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Telepathically told me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just take a cue from Pico. Gonna step forward into his space, point my finger, and blast that first cultist right there that I can see.
Okay.
Oh, and well, I'll worry about it when we get to the second round. But
Okay. Well, we'll deal with that later. So the first one misses. Is that it?
Yeah, I only got one shot with Necrotic Blast.
Okay. So go ahead and move into your own hex, whichever direction you want to go.
I recommend taking cover. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're at the beginning of round 2. The cultists know they're under attack. So cultist 1 is going to attack the apes. And he is going to cast... actually, he's going to summon cacklers. I think that makes the most sense for him to do. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll go ahead and roll initiative for the cacklers. And then resort. Alright, so that's Cultist 16. Or, sorry, you know what I meant. Cultist 1. And then Cackler 2 is going to attack the nearest ape with his spike chain, which misses miserably. Then Cackler 1 is going to attack the closest of his with a 19, and
Definitely hits.
that one hits. So he takes 4 points of damage. How many hit points do these guys have?
19 on average.
Okay, so he has 15 left. So we'll go ahead and adjust the hit points on all of these, just so they're accurate. Okay, so that's Cackler. All right, Cultist 2 then. He has Hex cast on him, but that's fine. He is going to step, and then he is going to cast a ranged spell at you, Pico, which will be Dark Flame. Let's see, is that within range? Actually, he might not be. It is not. All right, so he is going to move first. All right, that's his turn. All right, Cackler 4 is going to attack. What's the AC of the apes?
12.
And he hits. So the ape nearest him takes 5 points of damage. And it is now your turn, Pico. You can tell from the sounds that your apes are being attacked by cacklers. What are you gonna do?
All right. Well, I'm actually staying put. What I'm going to do for the moment is I'm just going to drag a token. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to actually move my token, even though I'm not moving, just so I can see better to guide the apes. Um, but let's see. Okay, they're right there. Um, I'm not too worried about them taking opportunity attacks for this, so I'm going to go ahead and have them gang up on this cultist and basically try to pummel them with the fists. So the idea is have the closest one hit and then get in the far corner and then basically just get the apes to surround him as they attack.
Okay, so that's what you mentally command for the apes. But what do you do? What do
Yeah.
you do on your turn?
In my case, I'm probably going to, well, shoot. I'm probably going to stay put given, well, actually, yeah, I'm going to stay put given the circumstances.
Okay. Are you gonna attack with anything or anything, or are you just gonna wait?
Actually, no, maybe I will. I'm going to go ahead and attack probably this close, or the bottom cackler that I can see there.
Sure.
So I'm going to move my hex to it, and then I'm going to go ahead and fire Eldritch Blast a couple of times. Okay, I think those both
Yep,
hit.
they did. Their AC is 15.
Okay, so 9 plus 2d6. So 17 points
All
of
right, you
damage that
take
one.
out one of the cacklers.
All right.
All right, if at the end of your turn, I'll go ahead and move the apes, or is there something else you wanted to do first?
Nope, that should do. I'm just going to park myself so I can actually see what's going on with the
One,
apes.
two, three,
Um,
4, 5.
And I'm having to go into melee, so they actually get 2 fist attacks on this guy each.
Okay, you go ahead and make your 2 fist attacks for that first one.
Okay,
And
so
the cackler gets an attack of opportunity, which I'll take.
okay,
Which
okay,
does hit.
Mhm.
So he took 9 points as he's going around.
Okay. Okay, so the first attack hits. I'm going to go ahead and roll the second attack as well. Oh, nat 20 on that one. Perfect. Okay, so for the first one, that's going to be a d6 plus 3. So the first attack is 8 points.
Okay.
And the second one is, wow, that sucked. That one's going to be 7 points.
Fair enough. All right. So your next one comes up to attack. No attacks of opportunity because the cackler already spent his reaction. Oh yeah. So go ahead and do your attacks.
All right, so first d20 looks like it hits. Second d20,
They both hit. Yep.
okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll it as a 2d6 plus 6 for simplicity. 12.
Okay. And then finally, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So he's going to hit on his way across. So go ahead and do your roll.
Okay. First attack's a 12, which I'm sure
Yep.
misses.
It's a 15 AC.
That misses too.
Okay. And then finally, our last one will do his drive-by. So go ahead and do your attacks.
Okay, first d20.
Although he does get an opportunity attack against the cultist as he goes back out of range if he doesn't kill him. So did you miss both times?
17 on that.
17, you hit.
Okay, and then the second one that misses.
Okay, so if you do at least 4 points of damage.
It is 4 points. That
Alright.
was the minimum I could have rolled, which I did.
All right, so the cultist dies, which means that he doesn't get his opportunity attack, and then that's all of them. So go ahead and move to wherever you are.
All right, there we go.
All right, Ragu, you heard a bunch of movement and a bunch of punching and a body hitting the ground. What are you going to do?
I'm going to.
Actually, you
step
didn't hear
back
any
out
of that.
here.
So you can't hear anything. I lied.
No.
I'll mentally
Yeah,
tell
my ears are
Regu I see
ringing.
tacklers, and I think they're still a cultist, but I'm not sure.
All right. Very quickly, I ask: is the cultist near this door? Like, is he within 5 feet of here?
I don't know. I just saw him go north and saw the apes run north.
All right. I will go ahead and.
I can see a cackler, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see a calculator. We don't know how far that guy went, so I can go ahead and just chuck a fire cylinder exactly right here. It's going to hit the cackler, and if I'm lucky, it might hit the other guy around the corner.
Okay. So you chuck it. I believe it was a save, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Do you remember what the DC is?
DC 15 dex save, or take
And go
half
ahead and roll
damage on a
damage.
failed save.
Oh, 8.
8.
Okay. Okay, and what? Yep. So he takes the full damage. He's still
Ooh,
alive.
knocked prone and in the water. Oh no, he would have. He
Yeah,
might actually
knocked
fall down the ladder, depending on how.
knocked
Oh no,
10
he'd probably
feet
go to the
back and
water.
knocked prone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it does knock him back. So I say it probably landed here, so it actually knocks him this way. All right. And what's the radius on that?
10 feet. So it
Okay,
should hit
so we have
everybody
2
in
more
the...
deck saves to make then.
Oh, they're all gathered out close. Cool. That's
15.
Wait a minute.
No.
Weren't these cacklers summoned by the cultist that just died?
Oh, let's see, did he summon it?
He had a little lightning bolt thing on him for whatever it was worth.
Oh yeah, in that case, that was him to summon it. Okay, so we're gonna rewind, Ragu. Sorry about that. The cacklers are actually dead already. So you don't actually see anybody in there. Do you still throw the fire cylinder at the same place?
No, I'm not going to burn a fire cylinder if I don't have at least one good target. So,
Okay.
just that. And...
Okay, well, based on that, it's like if the cacklers disappeared, there's a dead cultist. I don't know if there are any others.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the closest I can get. And
You do see a
I'm going
cultist.
to Necrotic Blast will be
Okay.
my action.
And
do
I
have
completely
an
forgot last
assault
time you
action.
fired one of these that they're resistant. So I was supposed to take half damage, but I'll remember this time.
Oh,
Go
they're
ahead.
resistant to necrotic damage?
They're resistant
Well,
to
I didn't
necrotic,
hit
yeah.
the last time. Yeah, I didn't hit the last time anyway.
Oh, okay.
But it'll prevent him from regenerating or
Right.
something. It's the only
Well, and it's
range
damage, so
weapon
go
I
ahead.
got.
Okay, you hit. All right, 2
2
points of
points.
damage.
Okay,
Is that the end of your turn?
that is.
All right, so beginning of round 3, and the cultist, he sees the apes, he sees Ragu. Ragu's the last one that hurt him, though, so he's going to step down, and actually, does he have room this time? Let me see if he has range. Yep, he does. All right, so he's going to cast his range spell, which is... yeah, Dark Flame. But with that kind of roll, Ragu easily sidesteps, and Pico, it is once again your turn.
All right. I'm not actually moving yet, but the apes were instructed to kill all the cultists, starting with the others. So
Fair enough. So they're
I just
going to
wanna-
rush over there to do that. So go ahead and make all the rolls.
Okay. How many of them are still alive?
All 4 of them.
All right. So I'll go ahead and roll. So that's for the first. It looks like 1. Actually, I'll roll all 8 and then figure out how many d6s to roll. So it looks like 1 so far.
Yep.
And then still 1. Let's see. Waiting for that roll to go through. Holy crap. That's 18. That should hit, right?
Yeah, their AC is 15.
2, 8. Nope. 3. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so only 3 attacks hit. So that's going to be 3d6 plus 9. So 14, 23.
All right. So he takes the damage. He's definitely hurting. At less than half health, but still kicking.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and move Hex to him. And I'm going to go ahead and open up with Eldritch Blast. Okay, the first one looks like it hits. Second one looks like it fails.
That's correct.
All right, so that's another 4 points plus. Okay, so 8 points total.
Okay, he takes that as well, but he's still alive.
All right, and I'm going to stay put for the moment.
All right. All right, Ragu, you can see that the cultist is surrounded by apes that look suspiciously like zombies. He's still alive, but at about 1/4 health. What are you going to do?
I'm going to blast him again.
You hit.
That hit. Doing a full 7 points of damage.
Yep. If only you had done 3 more. He has 3 hit points.
And then I step out of the way.
Fair enough. So at the beginning of round 4, the cultist is near death, and he is going to take a disengage action, and he is going to run.
A fat lot of good that's going to do him.
Let's see, what is his range? All right, so 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's obviously panicking. Pico, what are you going to do?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click Boots of Speed on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have the apes surround him. Or wait, yeah, actually, he only managed. Yeah, how? Okay, first I'm going to run. I'm going to do some of my movement right now. I'm going to use feline agility for extra stuff on this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 1/4 of my movement at the moment. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to have. Wait a minute. Duh, they've got ranged attacks. I'm going to go ahead and have each of them throw rocks at him.
Okay, make your rolls.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 3 of those would have hit because they all have a
Okay, so the
+5.
question is, can you do at least 3 points of damage?
Oh yeah, each rock has a +3 bonus to the die roll.
All right, so he's dead. And I will now take you out of combat.
All right.
So you can see that you can see the bodies of the initiates. You can see the body of one of the cultists over here, and of course one of the cultists over here, who are now actually fully dead. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to go ahead and click off the Boots of Speed, and let's start searching corpses.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you search the corpses. The initiates really don't have anything, although honestly, that's not a surprise. The cultists themselves don't have much. They probably have 29 silvers between them. Although one of them had a what looks like a crumpled, burnt note saying, "Check on their progress." And that's all it says. It looks like there was more to it, but it was been shredded and torn, and the guy only had that one piece on him.
All right. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and strip them of their garments and stuff like that. I'm going to send the apes down and then follow them down. We'll go ahead and take a look downstairs just to check on everything there.
Okay. You go ahead and go down there, and you find that things are where as you left them.
All right. Okay, we'll go ahead and bring the apes back up. And it's like, okay, well, these cultists believe they were betrayed by the initiates, which, ooh, that's a good idea. We're going to go ahead and take these initiate bodies away because if any other cultists investigate this, it'd be nice if they thought that these traitors were maybe easier to deal with than maybe more dangerous than they thought.
Okay.
Yeah, if they think there's problems with among their own, then that's great. So, all right, well, I'll have the apes carry those bodies. Ooh, shoot. Do you think we should have the apes throw the bodies in the water where all the bubbling was?
Maybe Devok needs a few more reinforcements,
Oh, yeah,
considering
that's a
his
good
last
idea.
few. Yeah.
Yeah, I owe him that. Yeah, in that case, oh shoot, in that case, we'll probably want to take all the bodies with us.
Yeah. If we
Okay,
get to
Okay.
so there
carry them, I
are
can help
5
you.
bodies total.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and haul those with us back to the entrance. How far away was Devok's place?
He's probably more toward the outskirts, so probably about 3 minutes on foot.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
I'll go ahead
I
and
can
take you back to
cast
the
a.
map. That way
I
everybody
can
else can
just
see as well.
ritual cast a. I can ritual cast a tensor's floating disc. We can pile Zabatis on board, and if you just have a tarp or something to throw over top of that, it'll just look like we're pushing a big thing.
Yeah, we've got the cloaks, which are close enough.
It'll work.
Yeah.
And then we get
So
back to
I'm
Devok's place.
assuming that once you get back to the entrance, that you're trying to move these bodies stealthily and not have anybody realize that you're carting bodies along.
Yes.
That's the idea. Although I guess what I can do is I can sort of lead the way, and I'll keep the apes waiting in the wings. If somebody gives us grief, I can just have the apes engage as a distraction.
Okay, so we'll have you guys make a group stealth check with just the two of you, um, just to see if anybody notices. To start with, nobody has advantage because of your physical limitations. Okay, well, the 26, that is actually good enough. And you manage to get. You're going to Devok's apartment?
Yes.
So you manage to get to the building without anybody accosting you. You are now near the entrance. You can see inside that there are a few Sadaga kind of hanging out in the lobby area, and you can see the owner of the tenement kind of sitting back behind a desk. So what do you do?
Would he actually be up this late at night?
Can we get to Devok's front door
Devok's up
without
the
having to go
stairs,
through these
obviously.
people?
All right.
Oh,
How about this? You wait here. I'm gonna go check in. So I'm gonna go up to Devok's door.
Okay, yeah, the owner kind of looks at you weird as you pass by, but he doesn't stop you.
All right. Um, and as I'm walking up to the door, I'm realizing I'm gonna quietly check the door to see if it's locked.
Devok, did you lock your door?
Um, I'll go with yes.
Okay, it's
Okay.
locked.
So first I'm gonna try. Oh shoot, I can't see him. So I'm just gonna try and unlock the door,
Okay.
assuming nobody's looking.
All right, you look around, and there isn't much activity up here this time of night. It seems like most of it's downstairs. So you find a time when no one's around, as far as you can tell.
All right, I would really use my expert guidance, because who better to tell me what to do than me? Okay, that's probably going to be good enough, especially given I'm sure these aren't exactly great locks.
Yeah, you
17.
unlock it, no problem.
Okay.
And actually, yeah, you just unlock it. Devok, actually, you can't hear, so never mind. Go ahead, Pico. What are you doing?
So I'm going to go in and seeing Devok and Oreo, and mentally to both of them, I'm going to say, "We're back." I'm going to say that a few times to see if they wake up.
Okay. Oreo, the way you described yourself, you're probably out like a light, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Oreo doesn't wake up. How about you, Devok? How are you just gonna honk out? You know, it's been a hard day, or are you actually waiting for them to come back?
I'd probably just conk out because I knew they died.
Okay, so yeah, you try to talk to them telepathically, but they're not responding. They're in a deep sleep.
Okay. I'm going to try and shake Devok awake, and mentally I'll be saying, "It's Pico, wake up."
Okay, Devok, you feel someone shaking you, and it finally gets you to wake up.
What? What's up?
I'm gonna try and fix your deafness, but also Ragu and I brought you some gifts to replace the ones you lost not long ago. Where would you like them?
What?
Well, I'm saying this mentally, so you can hear me in your
Oh,
head.
yeah. Just put them in the corner. I'll deal with them later.
All right. They're okay. I don't know if anybody's gonna raise an eyebrow at this, but we'll go ahead
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
Well, remember, Ragu is still outside with the bodies.
yeah, I'll go outside and meet Ragu. All right. Actually, let's see. Looking around Devok's apartment.
There are alleys and whatnot, although most of the windows are boarded up.
I meant inside his place. Furnishings.
Yeah, inside his apartment, you'll probably have a basic bed and some maybe a chair and table and a chest to put his stuff in, but it's fairly bare bones.
Okay, I got an
Does
idea.
he have a window to the outside?
He does, but it's boarded up.
Okay, well, I've got a plan for this. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to go ahead and use an illusion to make this, to make the tensor's floating disk load look like a ratty couch.
Okay, it looks like a ratty couch. Fair enough.
Okay, come on, let's go ahead and deliver Devok's new furniture to him.
So as you start taking it in, the tenement owner says, "Wait, hold on there. What are you doing?"
Well, our buddy ended up, we had this old hand-me-down couch that we offered to give him, so we're just delivering it to him.
You sure that'll fit? It looks awfully bulky.
Well, I'll try. If I've got to take it apart and put it back together, so be it.
Okay. Normally we don't take deliveries this late. Tell him that there's going to be an extra 20 silver charge on his on when it's time to pay rent again, and if he wants to avoid that in the future, to have his deliveries done before dark.
Well,
I'll
I don't want to
cover
hurt
that
him
now.
for a gift. I'll cover. Well, no, I've got it. So I go ahead and hand over 20 silver pieces. My apologies for the inconvenience.
Alrighty, try to keep it down. Most people are sleeping.
Yep. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll bring it on up.
Okay. So you bring up the tensor's floating disk, and yeah, you manage to make it into the room with it without any more interruptions. Although, will it actually fit through the doorway, or do you have to kind of stop it in the hallway?
The tensor's disc is 3 feet wide, I want to say. So I guess it depends.
Okay,
Yeah.
it could probably fit, but just barely.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and dump everything where it is, and
Devok, you see them bring in this disc, and it's basically covered with bodies, and they dump off 5 bodies. Two are cultists, obviously by their garb, and then 3 look like they're people from the street.
okay, what do I want to do about this? Okay, I am gonna be utterly wait, no. I don't want to do this.
Once
Yeah,
you get the bodies in, I'm assuming you're closing the door and all that, or are you doing something else?
we're gonna close the door. Before we leave, what I'm gonna do is, Ragu, you're gonna need to help me home. I am going to go ahead and take 3 levels of exhaustion. The first one is to cast Less Restoration on Oreo. The second one is to cast it on Javak, and the third one is to cast it on Ragu.
Nice.
Okay.
To get rid of specifically deafness on all 3 of them.
Okay, so all of you can now hear normally, but your vision is still blurry, and you still have disadvantage with perception as related to sight, but normal perception for hearing.
Okay. Okay, Ragu, let's go home.
And yeah, you see that Pico is as tired as you've ever seen him.
Yeah, I literally just get Pico up on my back like a piggyback ride, and I just walk carrying him home.
All right. Okay, you carry him, basically carry him home. Oreo is asleep. Devok, I'm assuming you go back to sleep.
Yes.
So the night passes, and so let me go ahead and update the date. Oops, there we go. So as everybody wakes up in the morning, it is a chilly morning. The sky is clear, and Pico and Ragu, as you wake up, you can hear a bunch of chatter downstairs about a group, some unknown group has destroyed the Red Carpentry Guild Hall. And there's a lot of talk of an investigation going on as to who caused it. But apparently, in the process, they were unable to find any bodies. So, as far as anybody knows, nobody actually died in the process.
Hmm.
However, there is you do hear some rumors that there were a couple of items recovered that seem to be cult related somehow. So they think cult members might have destroyed the building. Um, and you also hear a rumor that some sort of hole crater was at, they believe, where the explosion happened, in some sort of underground room, although nobody knows what the room was used for. Um, and there was bits of metal found there that apparently have been taken to the Nexus Guild because they seem rather um, unlike metal the metal objects that people are used to.
Hmm. And might be something to be concerned with, but we are not the only expedition into Lumev, and I have cited my fears of other foreign expeditions getting to Lumev as well, so I suppose there is some plausible deniability for us there.
Possibly, although just to be on the safe side, let's go on a bit of a hike. We need to go ahead and
Oh,
check
did you
on
make?
some other
I'm
friends.
sorry to be. I'm sorry to be buggy, but did you need to make a con check to get rid of one of your levels of exhaustion?
That's actually a good point.
Yep, go ahead. It's a
Now,
DC
I want to
10, I
help you.
big.
I want to
And
help
it's a
you recover
con
as quick as
check.
Or it's
possible.
save. It's a con save.
All right, I mean, it's about the same anyway. All right, yeah, I'm only down to 2.
Okay,
Okay.
good call. And if you keep resting, eventually they'll go. Eventually your exhaustion will go away on its own. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so Ragu, go ahead and pack up a few things. I think you know which things I'm talking about, and do a little minor illusion of his large fire cylinder. I mean, yeah, of his large fire cylinders.
Yeah, you want me to go pack those up, but I also have a meeting to get to in the morning here. What all do we need to get done?
Well, I want to park those somewhere else first, just for good measure.
All right. I go ahead and go up into my bedroom and get my trunk and, pack the Lumev stuff. And you can see a list of that at the home and property portion of my inventory. And then that trunk is ready in my room.
Okay,
You want me to
so
just
yeah, you
run
spend
off to
time packing your trunk. Your trunk is packed after maybe half an hour or however long it takes. So what do you do after that?
Well, wait a minute. You're
um,
packing a trunk. Basically, my thinking is we'll take the fire cylinders, probably to the apothecary.
oh, well, if it's just the fire cylinders, I can fit them into a big bag
Yeah, you want to look
and
as
just
normal as possible.
okay. I'll just fit just the fire cylinders into a big bag, sling it over my back because nobody really knows what they look like and they're all covered up. And then we can walk them to the apothecary. And once we drop them off there, I can go just down the block to Gimbals.
And that works. And then I can go check on everybody else. And while we're on the way, I'm going to go ahead and use that pearl. I'm going to go ahead and message Lord Valenstar and let him know that Hamilla may still be in danger. Um, Kragor
Um,
may have.
we did tell him that Hamilla is one of the people involved with this cult to destroy society. It's not that she's
Yeah.
in danger; it's she's the enemy even of him.
Well, we don't know how he feels about his family. Well, okay, I'll word this a little bit different. Um, um, Hamilla may be targeted by higher members of this group. Kragar may still have important information for us. A stay of execution would be useful so we can talk to him.
Okay, you send that message. You wind up taking the Ragu's bag to the apothecary. So you're on the way. It'll take you about 25 minutes to get there. So while you're moving, Davok and Oreo, you wake up in the morning. You're both extremely sore. Um, you can both hear now. Oreo, you didn't know what happened, but for some reason your hearing's back. However, your vision is still blurry, and like I said, you get disadvantage on perception checks with vision, but normal rolls with hearing. And so, what do you do?
Ow.
Oh, indeed.
What the hell happened here? Because I'm clearly seeing bodies or stuff, or is that covered
Oh,
up?
you see bodies. I think. What did you cover it with anything?
We'd leave the cloaks on top of them.
So it's a big, huge, noticeable pile with a foot sticking out here and a hand sticking out
That's what
there.
I figured.
Okay.
And
So,
I did
Poorly
tell Devok,
camouflaged.
and I did tell Devok that we were bringing these, so he should
So
know.
yes, you do see a pile of bodies.
How
yeah,
many
so, yeah.
bodies exactly?
5.
Five.
Huh.
Let me go
Well,
ahead and
could I
put in
raise
chat.
two of them now and have them like guard the bodies?
Sorry, say that one more time.
I'm considering raising two of them right now and having them guard my apartment.
If you have the spell slots for it.
I think I do. Yeah, I'll do that. That sounds kind of cool.
Okay.
You're doing this in front of Oreo?
Uh, have I not done this in front of you before?
No.
Oh yeah,
What?
like your class of rogue would be squeamish about that.
Yeah, the only
I
person
I
I don't
never
want to do
said
this in
any of
front of
that.
is
I'm just saying RP
Yeah.
wise. This is the first time you're doing it in front of her. So yeah,
yeah,
are you
yeah,
doing it in
yes,
front of
yes,
her?
I am.
So what do, Oreo? You see these two. You see two of the bodies start twitching, and you see them kind of stand up as you see Davok moving his hands and chanting in a low voice. What do you do?
She watches, I think, for a second, just because she's still trying to connect the dots. And as soon as she sees the bodies actually move, she's like, "Well, shit, that's how you get them." Huh.
Yeah, I thought you knew.
Listen. I tried at saying that it was a bad idea, but I didn't know how you were getting them. Now that I know, I can trust them a bit better. You could have just said something earlier.
Well, I guess so, but there are certain members of our party that might not appreciate it so much.
I can imagine.
Such
Well,
as a certain robot.
I imagine this is the other party members doing then, so at least they. Um, I mean, are they safe here with everybody else that you live here, or?
I mean, they, yeah, yeah. I'm raising them so it is safe. If anyone comes in here, they're not leaving.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
They're adding to my collection.
Perfect. I so far have appreciated this collection you've been gathering in the past couple of fights we've had. So keep them
These
coming.
will do.
So
I will
Davok,
help you out.
just to refresh, Your skeleton from way back managed to survive by running away, so he's still there. Um, and you now have two zombies, so you have a total of one skeleton and two zombies at the moment.
Where's my skeleton at?
That's a good point.
He's
Like,
actually I don't know where he's at. He's probably in the corner in your room too.
Okay,
We'll
cool.
just make it easy and say Oreo never noticed him because he didn't move. Because if you're not giving orders, there's no reason for
jeez.
them to move. But now that you're looking, Oreo, at the bodies, because you haven't spent time in this apartment, and last night you were really tired, you notice that there's a skeleton sitting in the corner of the room as well.
You thought he
Uh,
was a hat rack.
Yeah.
well, I think I need to keep a better eye of what these guys look like from now on. Holy shit. All right. Well, I don't
I
know
told
if
the three animated companions to make sure no one enters this room,
Okay.
except for the party.
So they stand up, and the two zombies are kind of like standing on the other side of the door, and the skeleton's kind of standing where the body is, and you see the skeleton has his bow on his side.
Cool.
All right,
Also,
so
can I heal
oh,
them in some way?
uh,
Basically, my understanding is there's no healing them, but you can re-raise them when they drop.
Ah,
so at the moment,
It's a pile of
for
bones.
some reason, I have your skeleton at 15, although I thought he was lower, but we'll just leave it alone. And your zombies, since they're just raised, are at full.
yeah. Yeah, we're gonna silently make an army in this room.
Okay, so
um
Think of it as an extended family.
Yeah.
Devok and Oreo, what are you gonna do?
I actually have to step away just a second, so I would probably just follow with Devok wherever he ends up wanting to go, because I don't know what the status is of strangers leaving the ward. But yeah, I need to step away. Sorry, guys.
Okay, so
Uh,
Devok, you're in charge of you and Oreo at the moment. So what are you doing?
where is everyone else?
Um, they went back to the inn they're staying at, which is over here. So you're at where the little token is up here, and
Yeah.
they're staying at that inn. Although you don't know if they've left and gone off doing their own thing, or if they're waiting for you.
I guess we'll go see.
Okay, so you make your way to the inn, and by the time you reach the inn, they've reached the apothecary. So you arrive at the apothecary, Pico and Ragu. What do you do?
Okay, so I know I left Ire. Oh, was it Ire I left with them here? Or was it both? I mean, I know I wanted to keep both of them here.
Yeah,
Well,
they both stayed here to watch after the little girl.
but yeah, if Fire and Galen are here, I'm gonna go ahead and greet them and ask, hey, either of you guys have lesser restoration or an equivalent?
and they say that they will look, and I will look. Right, players, and we have.
If Ire has it available, he should be able to get it on a short rest, just the way the clerics do, or or not. I don't know what his levels are.
Ire does have it, and it looks like he has two spell slots. So, are you going to volunteer two of his spell slots?
Um,
If he gets mad, he can get mad at me. I would like to volunteer one spell slot.
I certainly wouldn't mind the other.
All right. So, Ire spends his two level two spell
Did
slots,
you?
and then let
I
me
was gonna
check
say,
Galen. Galen does not have it.
All right.
in our
And
defense, he would be willing to help the party, and he might go ahead and just burn a hit dice to get a spell slot back, so he can cast it on our other two friends when they come, all hurt as we are.
Well, the catch with that is you have to do that overnight. And if he's up on a short rest, he'd get them back anyway. You'd have to take levels of exhaustion in order to do that same day,
Okay.
like I did.
Yeah, I'm willing to, under duress, have the characters who are not players who are not here use spell slots, even though that's still kind of iffy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to add levels of exhaustion without them here.
Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, I didn't think of the exhaustion. I just didn't know.
Okay, so you've arrived, and Ire heals the vision for you two using his lesser restoration. Um, he probably has questions for you, but I'll let Ire ask them himself when he can. So in the
Uh-huh.
meantime, what do you do?
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and drop off my sack. Probably gonna go upstairs and put it somewhere safe and secure up there.
Okay.
And then
Um,
I have to. Oh yeah, go ahead, Pico.
no, you can go ahead.
Yeah, you go upstairs
No,
and do
I
your
did.
thing. I'll just put you in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know what you wanted to or needed to get done up here because or here because yeah I just don't know.
Yeah, I think I've got pretty much everything covered here. I'll wait till you're done, then we'll go to Gimbals because I've got a minor question for him too.
Okay. We'll
Alrighty.
go back to the map then. Ragu, just in case I didn't hear you, is there anything else you're going to do while you're at Lavinia's shop?
No, just I go upstairs and I find a appropriate place to hide my sack of new and fun toys
How well are you trying to hide them? Are you just going to put it in there
as
assuming nobody
well as
comes?
possible.
Okay, as well as possible. So go ahead and give me a stealth check with camouflage if you have it.
I do not have camouflage, but I'll just stealth it. I will have no problems telling everybody else just in the party where it's hidden, but I don't want. Yeah,
Okay, you've
apparently it's
hidden
just
it under the bed or something. You think it's well hidden.
okay.
All right.
And I specifically say don't let the little girl touch them.
All right. So the two of you will head to. Um, you'll head to Gimbals. In the meantime, Devok and Oreo, you arrive at the inn where everybody's staying. But as you go in, you hear the same chatter that they heard about potential cult activity, the Red Carpentry Guild Hall being destroyed, suspected by cultists. And you also you probably hear about the weird metal that was found at the center of the explosion that was taken to the Nexus Guild. However, you don't see Pico or um, Ragu anywhere. So what do you do?
I guess because they're going to be here eventually. I think we wait here for them.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had actually breakfast or anything, right? Might as well eat while we wait.
Exactly.
Okay, you sit down and you have your meal. The innkeeper just kind of he's expecting you guys to come, and um, and sends a waitress out. And she comes out. She's like, "Well, where's the rest of your crew?"
Not sure yet.
They're
Uh,
coming.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I saw them leaving. They seemed to be in a hurry, and one was carrying a sack. But okay, I'll bring out your food. All right. So Pico and Ragu, you arrive at Gimbals. And as you show up, you see a couple of people browsing in the shop, and Gimbal is in his normal place behind the counter. So what do you do?
I go ahead and walk in, and as the bell rings, I look over to Gimbal. Does he look up?
Yeah, he looks up as you enter. He says, "Oh, yeah, good. I actually meant to speak to you. I actually have something for you, but um, hey, you!" And
No problem.
he points out at a gnome. What did I tell you about staying here? How are you gonna learn if you aren't staying behind the desk with me? And then you see this other gnome kind of walk up. He looks like he's a bit younger. It's like, watch the desk and handle any customers. I have some business to attend to. And you see the gnome kind of nod. And he's like, yeah, John isn't exactly the brightest bulb, but I kind of had to give him a job. He's a friend of the family.
Yeah.
Anyway, come on
Well,
back.
that's still good. Your business is expanding. That you're hiring more people, so that's still a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how good it turns out to be. He takes you into the back, and then he notices Pico. It's like, oh, are you here with Ragu, Pico?
I just had a quick question for
Okay,
you.
well, you come back, you can ask me in the back. So he takes you into a back room where you see some working areas and some crates with supplies, and then he pulls out a couple of chairs. And, okay, well, all right, so first things first, he pulls out a mahogany box, so it's all polished, and he hands it over to you, Ragu. Well,
Ooh, what
I've
is
been
this,
promising
Red?
to look into this for a while, so it's it's an old that's an old item that a friend of mine's been holding on to, and I managed to talk him out of it in exchange for some other things. Anyway, as he
All
opens
right.
it up, you see brass knuckles, but they seem to be gleaming in the light. They're a golden color, and you can kind of see a shimmer pass through them. And he says, these are the pearlescent knuckles. I'll
Oh,
go ahead and
just
type
this
that in.
cracked smile, and as sore and stiff as Ragu is, he just perks up and his eyes get big. It's like a
So,
child at Christmas.
so, these things do they definitely allow you to hit harder and a little easier, but that's not their true potential. Um, they allow you they allow you to touch an object with the knuckle. Um, and when you do so, you can think of some period of time in the past. And you'll see a short image, maybe 5 seconds in length, of what was happening around that object during that period. And this you can do this once per day.
Ooh.
Anyway, went ahead and typed it for you. And so it will may perhaps give you some insight as well as a little bit of extra martial ability. So what do you think?
Thank you so much. These are amazing. This is just wonderful, my friend.
Good.
Oh, speaking of, I do have one little bit for you. Remember my first trip to Lumev?
Sorry, say again?
And when I came, remember my first trip to Lumev? And I brought you back a few interesting looking things, and one of them was a cylinder about 2 feet long, was kind of heavy, about 10
Yes.
pounds. If you still have it, I want you to be extra careful with it. I mean, we just recently found out that it can be extremely dangerous, but we
I
need to keep
see.
that on the down low.
I
Just to
see.
give you a warning, because I did not know when I gave it to you. I just recently found out how explosive its nature can be.
Well, you'll be
You should
interested
get
to
like an
know that I've already had that and a couple of other dangerous objects moved out of the city for future investigation. Just so that,
Okay, good. Just so
given
you weren't
the Nexus
tinkering and
Guild
accidentally.
and where it came from, I didn't want people to come knocking if people found out I had it. So I don't have it.
Yes, yes. No, good, good. It's just if you ever did decide to tap on it or work on it or tinker with it a little, you need to be extra cautious. I'd hate to hear, some tragic news with an explosion.
He gets this weird look on his face, and then he says, Does this have something to do with the Red Carpentry Guild Hall?
Um, I'm going to say it has more to do with evil well poisoning cultists,
He
if
nods.
you catch my drift. No,
Okay.
I kind of tell him what's going on, but I don't come out and tell him. That way he has some plausible deniability if he doesn't want to know.
Fair enough. After that, he kind of shakes his head, and then he looks at you, Pico. Okay, you're next. What did you want to ask?
Um, I was just. Do you know if anybody makes any sort of potions of lesser restoration? I mean, I got a friend who knows how to do that stuff, but I was just curious if anything like that is actually available. I'm kind of drawing a blank on whether that even exists.
Oh, I do have somebody. If if you come back in, let's say 2 hours, I can sell you a couple for 1,000 silver each.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's definitely more than I'm in a position to deal with right now. If I change my mind, I'll let you know. But yeah, don't worry about that for the time being.
Just so you know, that's a discount.
Yeah, that's actually like at half off. But
Yeah, but it would take me longer to get the money together than it would be to have my friend just wait till tomorrow.
Fair enough. Come back if you change your mind.
All right. Thank you very much.
well,
Appreciate it as always, Gimbal.
Yeah, he waves as he kind of shoos you out of the back room, and then immediately it's like, "What are you doing?" You can see the gnome You can see the gnome handing a customer it looks like a platinum in his hand, and then he goes over, and then he starts. You can hear this argument going on, but from the background you get the impression that. The gnome miscounted the change versus the cost.
yeah. uh,
All right.
good
So,
help is so hard to find.
All right, so you leave Gimbals. What are you going to do next?
um,
Actually, Gimbal, if you did have a moment and you weren't fighting too much with your new hireling, did you have 4 hours for our training, or do you want to have that later on in the day or week?
Mm, Give me a couple hours. Come back in 2 hours or so, and then I can do that.
Excellent, excellent. And I'll go ahead and leave.
yeah, because it goes. Yeah, I really wanted to check on everybody else first. I guess we'll
Yeah,
see
so
if
I'll
they
go
met us
with
at
you.
the inn. If they're not there, we can go up to Devok's place.
Okay, so you make your way to the inn. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it takes you about 35 minutes to get there, but you finally arrive, and you see Devok and Oreo sitting at a table. Looks like they're just finishing up breakfast. So what do you do?
All right.
Devok and Oreo, you see them coming in.
Good morning. How are you two feeling?
Like
All
shit.
right.
Oh, I know the feeling more than you believe. Uh, uh, your ears are looking all right.
I think so. She like twitches her little ears, kind of figuring out if they work. Yeah,
You
I think
still
I
don't
can
know
hear.
why they're suddenly working.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that took a lot out of me to take care of that.
Oh, that was you? Huh.
Yeah. Um, Ire might. I mean, uh, how's your vision?
Mm, not really great.
Ire might be able to deal with that tomorrow. I think. Um, Worst case scenario, in about a week, I should be able to fix that on my own. Maybe sooner if I'm willing to really exert myself. I'll have to play that by ear.
As he's saying
It's
this, one of
fine.
the things you notice, Oreo, especially being a rogue and used to watching people, is that Pico looks absolutely exhausted. In fact, he probably looks more exhausted than you would expect him to be after dealing with last night.
I mean, it
All
connects
right.
with what he just said about the ears and everything, and kind of giving the impression that he must have really overexerted. So she makes a nod of like acknowledgement of what might be going on, but she doesn't say anything.
Okay.
Um, I will say though, if there's absolutely nothing that we need to really take care of right now, because I'm hoping not, because I really would not like to go in any other confrontation for in the near future. I do have some business to take care of. Um, so what's
Well,
the standing?
I do have a little bad news for you in that regard. Mentally, I'm going to say, remember the Walpurgin. That's tonight.
The what?
The remember the murder conspirator plot where we went listen on that meeting, and then it turned out it was postponed. Then they had their meeting. They were doing another meeting on the 15th at midnight. They said, and there was remember the Walpurgin at the guild hall this time.
At what time?
So at midnight. So we
Okay,
got all
I've got.
day.
Yeah, so do we need to do anything in the day? I've got shit to do in the day, not at freaking midnight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I wasn't sure if you meant like ideally we're done with the week. Unfortunately, we're not. But yeah, the day is yours.
Okay. Well, in that case, the only problem is I'm gonna probably need one of you guys to talk to the guys at the fucking the temple, because I don't really talk to religious folk.
Well, that being the case, we could bring Galen with us, I suppose.
Is Galen with us?
Well, so Galen and Ire aren't really here, so they're not really talking. For some reason, they're back at the apothecary, and Pico, you notice for some reason Galen is or Ire is just kind of standing around in some sort of trance, and Galen seems to be preoccupied and isn't talking much.
Answering 4 million questions from Sheila about plants.
Fair enough.
So, that being said, would anyone like to come and chat with the folks at the temple for me? Because I just need to get the guys that we left there out of there.
Yeah, I
Sure.
can help with that, although we're going to have to take it really slow. And yeah.
Right.
All
Crap.
right.
Um,
I'll, I'll just. I mean, we have horses. We can throw you on a horse or something, or do we have to go get that, or we just walk slow?
Okay. So I take it then that Pico and Oreo are going to the Temple of Gadrak?
unless anybody else would like to join, I sure. Because I mean, there's nothing about this that says it only has to be me. It's just that I don't like really talking, so I figured people can come if they wanted to.
Actually, how much is a staff? Or do we even have one floating around?
If you're talking about a stick so that you can use as a walking stick, you can probably find one floating around. If you're talking staff as a weapon, then you'll have to go buy one.
Just a walking
You
stick.
can find a walking stick.
Okay, well, I'm
Just
gonna
for
go
shits
ahead.
and giggles, Oreo kind of sees what you're trying to do, and she's gonna go look at the freaking the fastest park, and she's gonna fucking break a branch. She's like, "Here you go, Grandpa. You good now?"
Almost. Related to that, I'm going to go ahead and disguise myself to look more elderly. I figure, well, if I'm going to be moving like a geezer in his twilight years, I might as well look the part.
Okay, are you an elderly tabaxi?
Yes.
Okay,
As before, I'm just changing my literal body, relying on my normal clothes. I can.
fair enough. And so that would mean that you're not necessarily recognizable as
Yeah, I
Pico,
was just gonna say that too. God damn it.
unless of course someone knows you real well, like probably can tell the face, but the average person wouldn't recognize you. So is that what you're going for?
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Okay. So yeah, you make your way slowly to the Temple of Gadrak, Especially if you're acting like an elderly person, it probably
Oh no, I'm not acting. I'm still at the speed halved phase.
Oh,
So
okay. So in that case, yeah, let me see. Hold on. So let's see. One, two, three. So normally it take you 15 minutes to get there, but it takes you half an hour.
yeah, yeah. This is kind of like method acting.
So after half an hour, you arrive at the Temple of Gadrak. So what do you do?
You know who it was that you guys had spoken to last time?
I think I'd remember him if I saw him.
Well, we quite literally only need to tell them that we have a place for the folks that we left here, and if they're all around, we'd like to gather them up and start heading them to their new settlement.
Okay, let me see what I can find here.
Oh, actually, I forget. Whalen would be outside. So as you're entering, you see someone sitting on the bench. Um,
Oh, yeah.
he kind of looks at. Um, he he is attempting to avoid looking like he's noticing you, but Oreo, you can tell due to your rogue training that he's discreetly keeping an eye on you and Pico.
All right, I'm gonna walk up and actually I'm gonna plop down on this bench using the cane to help slow my descent.
The guy
Or
turns around and he says, "Oh, well met, old man. Name's Willem. It sounds like you're struggling to. It looks like you're struggling today. Are you okay?"
I'm sure I'll be fine. Um, I have a favor to ask. We're here regarding Galen and Ayer's new friends.
Hmm. Well, maybe, but I'm afraid um, that's fairly sensitive. We've been asked to protect them, so unless somebody comes that I know, I'm afraid I can't really tell you anything.
Pointing well, actually, just shakily pointing a finger in Oreo's direction.
He looks. Oreo, you were there last time, right? When they
I
brought him.
wasn't inside though. I was standing all the way in the back.
Okay.
Well, we were all outside at the time and we noticed this guy.
All right.
Yeah,
So he
but I
looks
mean, I never
over.
really approached though.
He starts waving you over, Oreo.
She sighs and steps back.
What was your name again, Miss? My
Uh,
name's Willem.
Oreo.
Good to meet you, Oreo. I believe I saw you with the group before, but you were kind of in the back, like you didn't want to be noticed. I actually noticed you. So, what are you here for today?
Well, we have um uh we have and this is why I didn't want to talk shit. What's the way I want to say it? We found settlement for the folks that we left here last, and we would like to help them settle in now. Everything should be ready.
Oh, wow, that was quite fast. Sure. Let me wait here. Let me get Paradin, and then he start goes inside.
She glares at Pico like, thanks a lot.
Sorry, I thought he would get the hint better.
And after a few minutes, you see Wellum come out with Paradin, and Paradin is kind of walks over to you. Has a little bit of a limp today for some reason, and then he bows and he says, "I'm told that you've arranged housing. Is that correct?"
That is in fact correct.
May I ask how you managed that so quickly?
Not really sure that that's
We
really
have
any of your
lots of friends and
business.
family members who have some spare space.
Oh, okay. That's fine. All right then. Wait here, and I will bring them out. They will. I think they'll be happy to see you. And then he walks back in, and probably about 5 minutes later, you see all of the prisoners, save one,
Yeah.
show up, and the one who isn't with them is currently at the apothecary. And as soon as they see you guys, they all kind of run up to you, Oreo, right past Pico, and one of them actually hugs you. What do you do?
Uh, she's not gonna hug back. She's just a little like, what the hell's going on? But she lets it happen anyway. You
Paradin
guys all
laughs and he
right?
says, they're glad to see you, young miss. Um, truth be told, the services didn't sit too well with them, all things considered. We did the best we could, but I'm glad you found something. Quite glad.
Given their circumstances, it is understandable that this would feel unpleasantly familiar to them. Not to speak ill of the wonderful work you do here, but, you know,
He raises his hand. Understood, understood. We didn't push too hard anyway, because
uh,
we get that.
uh, were it not for the time critic or sensitive nature of it, we would have tried making alternate arrangements. It's not so much that the arrangements are difficult, just that when everyone's asleep, your options are limited.
Are you okay, man? You, I know you're old, but there's something
Oreo,
about you where you look like you're about to keel over.
Oreo literally rolls her eyes when this is all going on. By the way, she's just like, "Oh, this is embarrassing."
Yep.
He's
Well, as they say, it's not the years, it's the mileage. And oh, so many miles.
All right, old
more
man.
miles than you're willing to admit, my friend, eh?
Should I
They're
call
not
you?
there.
Shall I call you a carriage?
No, I shall manage. Thank you for the kind offer.
If you're sure. And then he says, uh, "Take care of the young ones for me," and he goes inside.
Of course, we intend to.
And Wellham actually seems to have noticed your eye rolling, Oreo, and he's kind of looking at you with a raised eyebrow and shrugging.
No, turns over to Pico's like, "How long is this gonna last? Like, is this like a new thing? Like, this is just gonna be the new Pico? What the hell's going on?"
Oh, it depends on chance, but I feel confident that I'll be back to my normal annoying self within a week. Besides,
She,
I'll be quite busy during the week. You won't have to put up with me too much. Just be forewarned, once I'm back to normal, my annoyances will be able to resume at the more rapid pace that we're all accustomed to.
As you're talking, you notice some kids that were kind of burst out of the chapel, and you can see some parents behind them. And one of the kids actually runs up to you. He's probably like 4 years old, and it's like, "Look, Grandpa!" That's like, "That's not Grandpa. Come on!" And they shuffles the kids away. And then she's like, "Sorry."
When 1300 years you turn look as good, you will not. Hmm?
And then she looks
If
at you
nobody's
odd.
actually noticing, I'll just kind of snap my fingers real quietly and prestidigitation, a little bit of gray, right on the sideburns there, just to make it, just to
Um,
really drive
wait,
home.
so
I've
you are there the
already
entire
Well,
time?
my
disguised
understanding is you weren't there. Were you following
Oh,
along?
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought that you
because I
weren't
had
with
to
us.
take a walk with Gimbal.
Oh
He's
yeah,
going to see me in a few hours, so I just followed Pico the entire time.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool,
Although,
cool. I
well,
didn't
if
know.
that's the case, for what it's worth, though, I specifically disguise myself as an elderly tabaxi, so
Okay. I
that
apologize. I
kind of
missed
stuff
that
would
part. I was
already
drinking.
be there.
Okay.
Well, if
And in that
okay,
case, mind I.
well, if that's okay, so if this is just gonna be your thing, how about Bragu? Why don't you two just go back to the spot? I'll meet you guys there. I got what I really needed to do here. I can take the rest of these guys to where they're going.
All right, that works. I certainly don't want to hold you up, which obviously I will at this rate.
Oh yeah, she gives
Um,
you the yeah, you fucking are.
all right. Oh, the irony that I'm this exhausted, but oh, my health is healthy.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say the irony. Half the reason you're exhausted was helping her, and she didn't realize it yet.
Oh no, she
Funny.
figured it out. No, she figured out at the
Oh,
in the breakfast. It's just that like she also is noticing that he's purposely putting himself in a position to like look elderly and act elderly,
yeah,
and she's annoyed by
yeah.
that part of it, not
Well, I
by
can't
everything
help
else.
the
I
acting
was just
elderly
being,
part. So.
I was just being sarcastic. I was following along with the elderly thing as if I was old too, but not as old as him.
Oh, you were doing Grady yourself? Who are you
Oh no, no, no! I wasn't
prestidigitating?
adding gray to myself. I'm not exhausted and moving slow. I'm
Oh.
just talking to you as if I was as old as you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, since Ragu wasn't talking and I didn't even realize he was there, I was just assuming he was standing back and letting Oreo
Yeah.
and Pico handle it.
Oh, I was standing back and letting everybody else do most of the talking. I just
Cool.
was killing my couple hours before I went back to Gimbals.
Okay, so you leave the Temple of Gadrak with the ex-prisoners. So what are you going to do now?
I'm gonna lead them to the spot that I've been given by Toulouse.
Okay, so you start leading them off. Ragu and Pico, are you following or are you going off a different direction?
I explicitly told them to like essentially take a hike, but they better not be
Yeah, I mean, and
following.
I was
I'm
agreeing to that because
definitely going off in a different direction.
I would
Yeah.
slow it up. I'm going to. Shoot, Dave's probably not. I'm probably going to head to the apothecary for a little while just to talk to Ire and kind of discuss plans in the upcoming week to maybe start doing a little bit of a subterranean expansion of the apothecary. And then after talking to him about that a little bit and kicking around some ideas of how to get the work done, then I'll go back to the inn and meet with Devok if he's still there.
Okay.
I am.
All right, so you do that. You head back to the inn,
Yep.
and Devok is there. Oreo, you eventually make your way to the tenements where you're directed to go. So you arrive. What do you do?
I was told to meet up with someone, I believe. Hold on, checking my notes. What would I have to? I guess do I have to roll something if I have to recall something, or
You can
would
make
she
a
just
history check.
remember? Because it was just the day before, but
Yeah, although you lived through an
um,
explosion, so
yeah,
yeah, she might have forgotten. You can make a history check.
no, okay.
Yes,
Let
you
me
don't
check my
recall.
notes.
You remember what you said. You remember.
Give me a second. I know I've had to take in some notes. Hold on.
Okay. Well, while you're thinking about that, Pico is heading back to Devok, and Ragu, where are you going?
Back to Gimbals if it's been a few hours.
Okay, so you head to Gimbals, and by the time you arrive, he basically escorts you to the back, and he asks you for one more or for another Lumev artifact. It could be of any quality, and then he'll continue your training.
Okay, I have a Venus flytrap statuette. That'll work
Fair
for
enough.
training.
Okay, so yep, he continue your training. He's basically showing you how to take these bits of technology you don't understand and kind of find and reuse these components that are short-lived but can do interesting things, and but more importantly, how to find more of them. So you're going through that. So Devok, what are you doing?
I think I'm just resting mainly because I think I took more of a beating than most of the party.
Yep, most except for Pico. But yeah. All right, so you're just like, um, are you still at the inn, or did you go back to your own apartment?
I'm still at the end. I still want to do things with the group.
Okay, so you're just kind of like in the common room, just relaxing and maybe having a drink.
Pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Pico, you arrive back at the inn to find um, to find yeah, sorry, Devok tiredly sipping a drink at his table.
Ugh, it's gonna be a long day. How are you feeling about? Actually, I guess I'll say this part mentally. How do you feel about tonight, since we still ideally need to oversee that meeting for the murder conspirators at midnight? We might have to rely on Oreo more than usual for this, because I'm in bad shape, and I can see feeling pretty similar.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay.
Didn't hear anything come through then.
Huh?
So,
If you responded, we didn't hear it.
so go ahead and say it again.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you said?
Oh, just
You're muted, Pico.
how are you feeling? I know you're about as beat up as I am, and I'm kind of wondering how we're going to do to at the for that murder conspirator meeting tonight.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
We're probably going to have to rely on Oreo more than usual for that. And I guess
Yeah.
I've got a meeting too, which reminds me. How was the new couch?
Good. I put part of the new couch together, but not the entire thing.
Sorry, I couldn't get one the same size as the previous one, but
It's okay, no problem. Yeah. Part of it is made. I still have to construct the rest of it, though.
um, tomorrow
Which
I
one?
think we'll want to go to we'll want to see Ire and see if he can do things about vision. Um, Try and get us back to normal.
I agree.
All right, and
Pico, you're completely muted or something.
Mike,
We're
Is
only
he?
hearing your me.
Mike, okay?
I
I don't
honestly
know.
can't tell
I
whose
haven't.
mic you're coming
I
through.
Well, let me try and disconnect real quick.
He's disconnecting.
Okay.
Um, I did recall some piece of information, although not the one that I was expecting, but I do have something.
Okay, well, we'll switch back to you then. So, Oreo, what are you doing?
Is this better?
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
Try again.
as you were.
Um,
Okay.
she will look around. She'll tell the guys, the prisoners, to or survivors. I'm gonna call them now, not prisoners. They're the survivors. I'm gonna tell them, can you just sit tight out here for a second? I'll be right back. I just need to meet up with someone, and then we're gonna get you guys settled in just as soon as we can. And then she's
Okay.
gonna try and see if I don't know if this area is an open spot or like a builds an assortment of buildings. She's gonna try and see if she can find the owner of the place that Toulouse told her to.
Okay. Yeah, you find you find the place, and the owner is in sitting behind a desk inside in sort of some sort of common room.
She'll definitely step up, and it'll takes her like a couple minutes to kind of like really remember, but eventually, is by the time that she gets to the table, she's gonna be like, Toulouse sent me."
Oh, yes. There were some people moving in, right? And you have
Yes,
them with you.
correct. They're actually just outside. I just didn't want to just suddenly bombard with all of them in here with no contact, so wanted to
Oh,
first.
yes. I believe there's four of them, I think. That sound right?
Did I count four or is it five?
One of them's missing. One of them um, seems to have been left at the apothecary.
So I've got three people with me.
You got four people with you. There was five total. Um,
Oh,
yeah, but
okay,
one of
yeah,
them
then
seems to
yeah,
be staying at the apothecary.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, yeah, she'll nod and she'll say, yeah, 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 absolutely, four people.
Okay, sure. Bring them in so that we can get acquainted, and I can get them up to their rooms.
Awesome. So she will step out and get everybody inside and then start making what attempts of a introduction she can, even though she probably doesn't even know their names.
She probably doesn't, because I don't think they ever gave anybody their
Nope.
names. Um,
Correct. So she's
however,
gonna be like,
they do wind up grudgingly give out that information as the owner asks, and the owner goes through rules. Things like no wild animals in your rooms. Basically, times where certain things are allowed to happen, curfew, that kind of thing. And For the most part, the survivors seem to be receptive. Um, they just kind of want to see what their rooms look like. And then eventually he escorts you, Oreo, as long with the survivors, to two rooms. And he says, well, two in one room, two in the other. He opens them up, and they're plain rooms, but they are furnished. They have beds. They have a dresser for clothing. They have you know various other amenities as well. So while they're plain, they are clean. And he says, and they're fairly roomy for what they are. So it's like, well, here are your rooms, and you can tell that they're just looking awestruck around. It's like, we get to live here. It's like, yeah, yeah, this is what's been arranged. Um, we'll have to see about how you get on with paying rent in the future, but hopefully you get employed and everything goes well there. But at least for the first month, you're here with no cost to you. They all look at you, Oreo, all at once, and it's like, did you do this?
she doesn't like to be the brag or anything, but she definitely feels a little bit of pride. She's like, yeah.
Oh wow, they
But
all rush up and start hugging you at the same time.
okay. All right. I guess we're doing the hugging thing. All right, cool.
And
Um,
as they start you peel them off and they go into their rooms, you can tell some of them have tears in their eyes as they go and kind of try out the beds and kind of walk around. One of them looks out one of the windows, which aren't boarded up, uh, and you can tell that they're extremely happy.
I do want to, at the very least, I want to go to each of the rooms as they're settling in, just more privately with each of them, kind of say that if they encounter any trouble or if they come across anything that looks suspicious, especially with what they've encountered, to not hesitate leaving me a message. And I give them instructions of where our inn is.
Okay.
And I say, when you leave a note, just put Ori on it, Ori. And they'll know it's coming from you guys.
Okay. They like thank you so much, and as you talk to each one hugs you.
Yeah, yeah, okay. We're gonna have to figure out another way to say thank you than a hug, but well, I'll let it slide now. It's all good.
Okay. After you go through all the hugs and they start settling in, what do you do?
I will make sure that everybody is settled in. I go back to the owner just to reassure them, that saying thank you for everything that they've done, and if they also need to communicate anything with me, just to alert me at the end again. But I tell them just to say Oreo.
Okay, nods. All right. Yeah, we're good. So we'll see about getting them employed. If worst comes to worst, though, can I contact you for financial reasons?
Let's cross that bridge when we get there. Let's see where we stand in a month. I'm sure that these guys can figure out a way. If not, I'll definitely make sure that they've got that help to move them along.
All right then. Well, good to meet you. I kind of heard what you did, so gotta say there aren't a lot of people who are so willing to help out there. So well, thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you. And she'll take off. She'll make a mental note from that as an experience though that she might get a kick out of doing something like that and she just keeps it as a personal mental note for later.
Fair enough. All right, so Oreo leaves. Um, Ragu is busy for 4 hours. So going back to Devok and Pico, you're sitting at the table. What are you two doing?
Um, Devok, your contact, the one who wanted you to do some of the investigating, did he have a specific time to meet you, or are you expected to see him at your upcoming meeting?
Do I remember if you mentioned that? Because
He didn't
I
mention
don't.
a time to meet him, but you assume that he would be at that general meeting.
Yeah, I assume he'll be at the meeting. I'm not sure though.
All right. Yeah, definitely want to make sure to bring that up. Um, I was realizing, I don't know how the time frame's going to work, but we might need to see Jared tonight, or at least see if he's there. Fortunately, you're still allowed in the golden dice, right?
Sorry,
You're still allowed in the golden dice, right?
I believe so.
Hmm. All right. Yeah, well, when everybody else shows up, we'll want to bring that possibility up. If so, we'll probably need to get around to there around 7 o'clock, I want to say. Hopefully,
Sounds
he'll be there today. This is the right day of the week based on what he originally told us.
So as you're talking, a waitress walks up and looks around. It's like, you're Pico, right? Talking. Actually, are you still looking? Do you still look like an old man? Sorry, Pico.
How long would it have taken to get to the temple? You said what, a half hour?
To get to the temple, so another half hour to get back.
All right, it would have been breaking around that time. Well, given what it would have taken time, I probably would have had to renew it. So yeah, we'll say it's still up.
Okay, so
Second
in
or
that
last
case,
day.
she looks at Devok and says, "You know Pico, don't you, Devok? I think that's your name."
yes, yes,
Oh yes, my grandson.
Okay, is that true, Devok?
yes. I am his grandson.
Oh, okay. Well, nevertheless, there is some correspondence for Pico. I don't feel right. I know your family, but to just tell him that next time you see him, that I have two letters for him. Oh, actually, no. One of the letters I can give to you, Devok, because it pertains to your whole group. The other letter is for Pico only. So when Pico comes back, just tell him we have a letter for him.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, I believe that lazy whippersnapper's still upstairs napping. I'm gonna go find him for you, and I'll go ahead and trudge my way up the stairs.
All right. Meantime, Tavok, you are holding one letter, and it has the seal of the Nexus Guild on it, but it is still closed.
Okay.
Okay. Pico, you go upstairs. What do you do?
So I go up to my room, switch the cloak of many fashions to something a little bit different. Go ahead and go back to my normal form. Leave the Oreo's walking stick behind, and go ahead and come down. Well, kind of like I'm hungover.
Okay. So you come down, and Tavok, you see Pico coming down looking normal outside of acting like he's hungover and kind of stumbling. All right, Pico, what do you do?
Grandpa said there's a letter for me.
Correct.
You go up to the counter and ask, and yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, we got a letter for you. Here you go, and he hands you a sealed note. You recognize the seal as coming from Jared.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pop that open and have a look-see.
It's very simple. It simply says, "Meet me tonight at the Golden Dice between 6 and 10."
Wow, I must be psychic. All right, well, this is perfect. Looks like my guess about seeing him was is no longer a guess. I'll go ahead and pocket that. And so, what is the? So we got something else, or?
Oh, I gave. There was another letter, but I gave it to your friend Davok.
Oh, all right. I'll check with him. So yeah, check it with. Well, yeah, check with Doc. So there's another note.
Correct. I hand it to you.
It you see the seal of the Nexus Guild.
All right, go ahead and pop that open too.
Okay, you see this one is very terse as well. It says, "Please have you yourself and your entire group meet at the Nexus Guild at your earliest convenience tomorrow."
Tomorrow. Okay. Well, uh, actually, let me double check something. I'm going to go back up to the lady at the counter. When was this message delivered?
Um, this morning, but you were out.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, go back to Devok. I wanted to make sure that we didn't have to go like right now. Turns out it showed up yesterday waiting for us or something. Oh, I bet that's going to be a fun meeting.
Indeed.
Alrighty. And as all this is happening, Oreo, you probably are showing up at the inn, and you see Pico just sitting down at the table with Davok with a piece of paper in his hands. What do you do?
As soon as I see her, I'm going to wave her over.
Yeah, she'll meet up with them.
All right. Well, it looks like we get to see our friend Jared later today, and tomorrow we are supposed to be bright and early at the Nexus Guild.
Another expedition already?
Um, I almost want to say I hope not. On the other hand, depending on what they want to talk to us about, maybe getting away for a little while would be preferable.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Well, depending on how it goes, just remember when in doubt, blame it on Ragu.
Where is he anyway?
Oh, he was doing his training stuff with Gimbal, something involving skills that might help him on the next Lumev expedition, which hopefully isn't tomorrow.
Hmm. Okay.
Well, if Gimbal's shop suddenly closes permanently, we'll know what happened.
Alrighty. Okay, so are you guys going to do anything until your meeting with Jared? If so, if not, we can fast forward. If you are, now would be the time to speak up.
My one question is actually, what time of day is it?
It's still fairly early, maybe around noon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine waiting. If it starts getting close to the meeting time and we still haven't seen Ragu, probably go check in at Gimbals to find out what's taking him so long. Otherwise, yeah, we can just wait for him to get back and then head for the meeting.
Okay, so probably around 3 o'clock in the evening or in the afternoon, Ragu, you finish. And are you going back to the inn after your training?
Um,
Or do you have something else you want to do?
yeah, I can. I well, wait, no. I can swing by the apothecary on my way back to the inn because I don't know exactly where everybody is, so I can check both of those places.
Okay, so you
Oh,
go.
yes, actually, I do have one other thing I'd like to do,
Okay.
and I don't know if Gimbal's the right man for it. It's a Gimbal, my friend. I recently had some things damaged. I didn't know if I could just get some replacements real quick.
What kind of things?
Well, the glassware for my alchemist supplies is all broken, and then my oil flasks are all broken, and my healing potions are all broken. I don't expect you to replace the liquids inside, but maybe if you had some more alchemist supplies
Well,
and
I
some
never did
maybe.
put on that one you gave me up. I totally forgot. So he pulls it out. It's another +1 alchemy kit. Says, you can use this one. Um,
Why, thank you so much.
Unfortunately, as far as healing potions, I'm not really going to be able to help you much there. I can. I'm
Well, yeah,
have.
like I said, I brewed them myself, but what I was going to ask is instead of glass, might you have something less shatterable? Like maybe small steel vials instead of glass so it wouldn't happen again in the future?
Mm, you can potentially use um, wine skins or something along that nature. Wooden objects aren't really going to work because, but and pottery is not really much better, and metal isn't going to work because if you pour the potion in the metal, it will actually rust the metal over time and cause the potion to lose its potency. So you can't store healing potions in metal. I'm afraid.
I did not know that, but thank you because I was going to try and do that. I appreciate your time.
It's a good
Awesome.
idea. We've tried it before. People have tried it before because, as you said, glass breaks easy. You can try wineskins, but that's kind of awkward, honestly. There's a reason why we still use glass today.
Okay. Well, thank you. It was worth asking, but yeah, I'll have to go find my friends now. And thank you so much for all your time and effort. And speaking of, this is my fourth class. So, what is my
Okay, so yeah, you get the scavenger skill, and basically that'll probably be under intelligence. And so what that allows you to do is when you have basically technological waste or old machines or that kind of thing. It allows you to scavenge useful objects from them that you can basically use as magic items. The downside is that these magic items can break after any use. So basically, you'd roll a die each time you use it to see if it breaks. Um, but you can roll and find more. So think about it kind of like as being able to find bits and pieces of technology you don't fully understand to make short-term use magic items.
okay? Try and go full MacGyver with my imagination.
Yeah, I mean it's stuff when you find it, it does a specific thing. So you're not making them, but you get to find a variety of different things, and then basically your skill is to figure out how to make them do something useful.
Okay,
All right,
that'll take a little bit of trial and error, but that sounds awesome.
cool. Anyway, so you Ragu shows up around 3 at the inn.
I will let me roll some hit dice and all the time that we've been
Oh yeah, you
back at
guys
the
can
inn.
spend as many hit dice as you want because you guys have been resting for long enough. So
So I'm just gonna start doing that.
So, Ori, I couldn't help but notice that the apothecary kind of caught your eye, too.
Uh, did it?
You seemed a little bit interested in it. I
Um,
mean, not as a making potions and poultices and all that sort of nonsense.
yeah,
But I
I
could swear I saw
suppose.
a twinkle in your eye.
I mean, I don't really know. It's it's interesting to have. I'll say that much, but I haven't really paid much else attention, and she doesn't really. I mean, unless I don't know. That's she'll leave it at that.
So I've been talking with Ire to kind of expand the place out. Um, And well, I wouldn't mind being around forever. I don't necessarily see my future always involving an apothecary shop. So um, I don't know if you had any interest in the place at some point, or at least the expansion parts of it.
Give me some time to think about it. She
Yep.
definitely looks like she might be interested, but she's not trying to show it so openly. So she's trying to act cool about it.
But yeah, I've sent word to my daughter to have her show up and actually run the apothecary as a business so it actually makes some income. But I bet the place could be more than that.
You think?
Not every day, but sometimes I can't help it.
I'll definitely I'll my people will talk to your people. How about that?
That works.
Okay. So you guys rest up and spend your hit dice. Ragu, are you going to spend any hit dice?
Yes, I'm actually going to. I can spend a hit die to get back a spell slot, correct?
That's over a short rest. So if you wanted to,
Don't you have also your second
Second
wind
wind.
that you can take up at a short rest anyway?
Yes, yes, I can.
so we can
Thank you for
say that
reminding me.
during your last short rest you had, that night, that you gotten back your spell slot and used your second wind. How's that?
That works.
Okay. So mark off one hit die, and you gain back a spell slot. Are you going to spend any hit die for healing?
No, I'm not going to spend
Actually,
hit die for healing.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
what kind of shape is everybody in?
I'm just 10 below. I'm reserving one hit dice just for emergencies.
I'm like I think 15 below, maybe a bit more.
Okay, let me
I'm
try.
at less
You?
than half.
Maybe 20. Oh,
Okay, let me try this.
I will definitely say that if there's any if you're going for additional healing, give it to the other folks first. I will live I think for now with the with what I've got. 10 below is not that bad. And I've bolstered up myself a bit better since last couple of fights to last a little longer.
So I wouldn't be able to use that without killing myself. Let's switch that. Okay. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna go ahead and cast Good Berry. Let's see what they turn out to be like. Oh, those are good. So Devok, you said you're how far down?
almost 20.
Almost 20. I'll give
Let me
you
rephrase.
5,
Oh, sorry. No, no,
and
no.
then
My bad. I'm 12. I misremembered my HP total.
oh, 12 down. I'll give you 3. That should top you off. Oreo, you said you were 10 down.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3. That'll also top you off. And then when we see Ragu, I'll give him 4.
Okay.
Okay. And
Is
each
that
one does
oh
4 points.
yeah, I was gonna say how
Yeah.
far down are you, Ragu? Like, do you still need more? Because I can live without a barrier too, just to get you back up. You're like our tank right now.
Yeah, actually, wait a second. Okay, so 4 times 4, 16. Let me add, because I was also doing my healing, my second wind. 77 turns into 82, which is just wonderful.
Out of wait, so you're topped off nearly, or where are you at?
I'm at 82 hit points out of 95 max, which is wonderful. I mean, I was down at like 35, but
So
yeah,
three of the berries are gonna put you full.
4.
3 would put him
Oh no,
one shy of.
that's including the 4 berries that Dave gave me and my
Oh,
healing, my second wind, and the potion that Oreo already gave me. I'd add all that up.
all
So
right.
all of that put together got me to 82.
So why don't you take two of my berries then. I'm only gonna eat one. And how much was one?
4 points.
4 points.
Okay, so you take two more, and I'll just use the um.
Okay, that's two of them's another 8 points, so 82 turns in. Okay, yeah, 90.
And that's got me mostly tapped out of spell slots. I have one spell slot that I bought overnight with a hit die, and my warlock slots are reset. But yeah, I'm otherwise tapped out as a druid.
Okay, and I'm tanked up as far as yeah, hit points, and I have two first level spell slots and one second level spell slot that I got back last night. So that's it. I'm about half spells and full hit points. Everybody hide behind me.
Do
All right.
you, out of character, are you? Do you have a? You're gonna use a shield at least for the upcoming, or are you gonna not use any shield?
Um,
Just
if I have to
because,
use a shield,
yeah.
or just because.
Just because if you go down, we're a little screwed in a way. So like,
Oh no, I understand. Yeah, I will do my best to stay up. Like I said, I have two first level spell slots, so I can do a couple of shields, and I have one second level spell slot that can do quite a bit more.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
speaking of, do we have a few minutes? Pico, I can't remember. It's been quite a few sessions. Did I go to Gimbal or did I go to your armorer to ask about that plus one armor upgrade? Because that would be another good thing right now to be tanky if I'm the only tank.
It would have made more sense to go to the armor since the armor actually could do it.
Okay, I couldn't remember. It's been a while. I'm sorry. I didn't have it written down. Yeah, if we can make a quick stop at the armory, I can see what he has to say about getting a little bit of extra defense. But other than that, I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't take too long, because yeah, we turns out we do in fact have a meeting with our friend today, and we get to go to the Nexus Guild bright and early tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So I'd like to, as we're all getting ready, I'd like to run off to the Pico's armor.
Okay.
I think I
So
already
yeah,
went and asked him
Pico
about that.
probably takes you over there, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All
he's
right.
taken me there at least
It
once
takes
before.
you quite a while to get there, but you came back at 3 p.m., so you guys had hours, so this is fine. And you arrive, and you see the armor busy at work. And as you enter, Pico, what do you look like?
And just gonna be me.
Okay, so he kind of waves you over. He go, "Hey, Pico, didn't expect you to see you so soon." He puts aside his hammer. What can I help you with?
My friend here has this really nice armor that he's grown attached to, but he wouldn't mind if it was maybe a little more protective than it currently is. Is that something you might be able to
I
help him with?
Perhaps
I believe I
show me
came
your
here
armor.
before, and I'm literally wearing it, but it's liquid skin. But I remember coming in here once before, several sessions ago, and asking, and he said come back in like a week or two for an answer.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I guess I must have forgotten, but that's fine. So he looks at it and he's like, "Yeah, I can do a bit. I can improve its protective ability a little bit for 3,000, and I can 3,000 silvers, and I can raise it a little bit more for 10,000." In meta terms, a
Okay,
little bit means a plus one, a little bit more
okay,
means a plus two.
okay, and that was for 3,000 and 10,000.
Plus two, 10k. So yeah, it's 3,000 for a plus one, 10,000 for a plus two. But he says, but it's gonna take me 3 days to work on this on the armor though. This isn't
Okay,
quick.
okay, I understand completely, and I will be having that done. But I also have a very quick need for something right now. Do you perchance have a just a plus one buckler lying around? My buckler here, and I have I unstrap it from my left arm is you can see it's a bit beat up and it's seen better days.
Oh
But
yeah,
if you got
yeah,
something a little
yeah.
better
I
for
do
just
have a nice
tonight,
one back here. It does have I just recently enchanted it. I hand you this silvery buckler. It's only a. It protects you a little bit more than a normal buckler. In meta terms, it'd be a +1.
that's
But the nice thing about it is that if it takes a beating, just set it aside for 24 hours, and it'll look as good as new after those 24 hours. It's the darndest thing. But
nice.
it's a little bit on the expensive side. We'll run you about 5,000 silvers.
Okay. 1 second.
We call it old silver. It's the it's a self-healing type. It's pretty neat.
Okay, and five, and that's the only +1 buckler you got there. And okay.
So I'm having trouble hearing you, Reku. So do you what do you get if anything?
Well, I'm gonna come back later for the armor because I need something tonight. I'm gonna have to take that +1 buckler. That'll be better than not having it for our fight tonight. So I was just trying to add up my cash because it's in a separate box here.
Okay, it should show you the total silver on
But
that
it,
page.
it doesn't because um for encumbrance I took my money out of that, which adds it up automatically, and put it in a chest in my
Oh, okay,
home,
fair
so it
enough.
doesn't add it up anymore. And that's just because we're not carrying all of these thousands of coppers and silvers on us
Yeah,
because that would be tons of weight.
that makes
So
sense.
yeah, I was trying to add it up. Okay, so
Yeah, take your time.
1,000.
So while Ragu is adding it
And you
up,
said it was 5,000.
5,000 for the one +1 buckler. Yeah.
Okay.
Is anybody else doing anything while Ragu is counting his money?
Can't think of anything.
Okay.
Nope.
Same.
Okay. I very thankfully accept the buckler, and I say I shall be back when I have a bit longer of time to see what I can do about the uh, the armor. And I thank you very much.
Oh,
And I
good.
hand him a bag of
Just
50
just as a
platinum.
forewarning, due to the laws around these parts, I am forced to put a limit on how many enchanted items I can sell to a single individual over a period of time. And I believe the limit is currently 3 a month for up to two
Okay.
months of the year for a total of six. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, I shall. And I appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Of course. Okay.
Okay, and I hand him a bag of 50 platinum for the buckler.
Okay. He he definitely he takes it and then he hands over the buckler. Um, and yeah, that's it. The buckler stuff should be. Oh, actually, fixes itself over 24 hours of non-use.
Okay.
Okay, so
All
the
right. So
information
that's
is in the
a.
chat.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. And okay, yeah, that's everything. I should be tanky enough to take it for everybody here. Um, I'll adjust my buckler.
And just to be clear again, out of character here, Jeremy, the equipment that these guys carry that were magical, that doesn't get affected. That didn't get affected by the explosion. Only what they were carrying, right?
Yeah, basically anything that in their backpacks or they're carrying on their person that was breakable, or fragile that wasn't magical. Unfortunately, magic potions don't count because the glass itself isn't magical.
Gotcha. Okay, fair.
You were only spared because you were spared all damage, whereas everybody else took some damage.
Well, no, I got damaged. It's just that I didn't get as much damage because of uncanny dodge.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so my assumption with your uncanny dodge was that you basically were prone right next to the base of the wall, and basically the whole wall above you kind of burst forward, but you were mostly protected, and that's why you're able to take a fairly small amount of damage compared to what you would have.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so you got your shopping done. Is there anything else you wanted to do?
Um, that's it for me, unless we had more planning to do. I've got my hit points up, and I've got a little higher armor class, so I'm set for the party.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
good.
we can go nice and early to meet Jared.
Okay, you head to the Golden Dice. The Golden Dice. Sorry, there it is. I got quite a few maps in my list, and the Golden Dice is fairly early in the early up there. All right, Ragu.
Devil.
All right, you arrive, and Tyrande is actually not there. I just haven't moved her yet. All right, so you arrive at the Golden Dice, and there's a bouncer up front, and he seems to be in a rather bad mood for some reason. You can see a person ahead of you in line who kind of walks up, and he's like, "What are you doing? Just get out of my way!" And the bouncer just literally looks at him, punches him in the face, and he tosses him right past you, and he says, "Next." And Pico, you're up and next up in line. What do you do?
I go ahead and show him the trinket.
He looks at it, and then he looks at you. He kind of squints at you, and he says, "No trouble tonight. You hear? We don't have. I have no patience for trouble tonight."
I definitely am going to make sure that no trouble happens. Did something happen here recently?
Yes. Let's just say that a certain noble lady who didn't want anybody to know that she was visiting. Well, let's just say her family wasn't happy, and we've had to deal with a bunch of crap.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, I think I know who you're talking about. Make sure to steer clear of her.
Good. Anyway, you can go in.
All right. Thank you.
So I'll stack you up and go ahead and move you. And as you go in, you notice that Dolor isn't here tonight. However, you do notice that Jared is sitting at the table waiting for you. I'm just pulling up his token now.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of sitting back at the table where normally Dolor sits.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks up. It's like,
I'll go here.
"Oh, I see. You made it, friend. You might as well have the others join us as well. Barmaid, get us a few drinks, if you will. Just what I've been having. And otherwise, just tell people I have some private business to attend to." All right. Devok will be back, so I'm assuming he's kind of hanging out outside. Um, and Oreo, what are you doing? You gonna go inside, or are you hanging out outside as well?
We'll hang out with the Bach outside.
Okay. So Jared kind of looks at both of you and he says, "Well, I've heard a few things, but before we get started, how was your time with you know who?"
Very, very interesting and quite productive, although also unnerving.
Yes.
Good. What were you able to find out, if anything?
Glancing around, anything interesting with the patrons?
You notice that they're kind of just sitting there eating and drinking. They You see one of them kind of glance over, and you see him trying to listen, and then you see him rubbing his ear, and then he tries to listen some more, and Jared notices you kind of looking, and it's like, don't worry, they can't hear us.
Perfect. Okay, well, it turns out that Taronda was visiting two different cultist cells and apparently relaying messages between them or something of that sort.
I
But
see.
that's not the interesting part, though. It turns out that these cultists have figured out a way to do some sort of range limited immortality. They've been able to somehow create uh, cur- these cursed altars that basically, if they're within range of them, you could kill one of these guys and then they'll get right back up, within a minute.
So it's true. I didn't think that could possibly be real, but you're sure of this?
We found out the hard way, but I've got good news in that regard. But before we get to that, there is more. It turns out that, let's see, I don't think we've talked about blue sand with Jared, but are you familiar with this whole blue sand epidemic that's been going on?
I've heard some things about it. Yes.
It turns out the Grey Cult is behind that, and apparently they're trying to cause government destabilization by basically getting people addicted to this stuff, which causes progressively more violent behaviors. The idea is to get a significant amount of the population basically violent and out of control, so you have civil uprisings, riots, things like that. These cultists have also been responsible for other things. They were trying to poison wells to kill people off with the plague, and then get other people affected with something similar to the blue sand again to cause civil unrest. I mean, bodies in the streets, people on rampages. They're very busy fellows, and so one of their cells had a rather sizable drug lab ma- intended for manufacturing blue sand. And they had this weird magical skull that was dumping this toxic water into a large pool that's apparently one of the ingredients for the blue sand.
Ooh, a skull, like an artifact.
Yeah, something magically created, not a real natural skull, but some magic item built as a very large, basically a dragon skull and about the right size as one, about as big as one of those tables that the patrons are sitting at.
He looks over at one of the tables and kind of looks back, and it's like, that's what's the nature of the skull now?
Let's just say it's in a lot more pieces than it was when we found it.
I see. And
We also managed to additionally taint the water that was in there. Since there was a great deal of blue sand to try to destroy, we threw it in there, you know, basically making a bad recipe out of it so that the blue sand's no longer effective and they cannot use that tainted water to make more blue sand. Um, but it turns out that these altars, they were trying to make a second one at one of the locations. There was one that was already working, and in fact, the first cultists we dealt with, we actually found out about their ability to get back up. But fortunately, we found the live altar and destroyed it, um, which was good because if we had encountered the other cultists first, it would have been a really ugly battle that we might not have survived. But we also found they were attempting to make a second one at the same site. We also destroyed that for good measure. And we found a second location with a live altar. Fortunately, in that case, we had a way of subduing the cultists and then destroying the altar essentially finishing them off. But let's just say that that second group um, had a lot of time to think about the mistakes they made in life.
And was that the head of the serpent?
I unfortunately do not believe that to be the case. It sounds like there's probably more of these cells. We
We
heard
have a
mention of a
better
warlock.
yes, we have a better idea of the head of the serpent, though we know not where he is. There is, mysterious talk of this warlock. Well, we happen to know his real name. It's a real
Yeah.
person. His name was Mirmir, and he was a wizard in the Academy Tower around 20 or 30 years ago. And he was kicked out for doing some less than scrupulous things. And for the wizards, that's got to be pretty bad. Anyway, he's now back under this nickname or moniker of Warlock, and he is intent on destroying society, which is what this blue sound was supposed to do. It was supposed to make the people crazy and uproar and riot against the government, and then these other things to destabilize and have people lose faith in the government. He wants to destroy the current uh, the current regime and houses.
Wow. Well, there are things the government is doing that I don't personally agree with, but destroying the government as a whole in this time of need is certainly the worst thing you could do. So I am glad that I entrusted you to follow this lead capably, and it sounds like you have. It isn't
One.
much. Real quick, it isn't much. He puts down a sack and he says, "You'll find 500 silvers in there as uh, payment for all you've done, because defeating this cult is quite vital to all our safety. So thank you for that." He hands you the sack and he says, "You had something to say, Pico."
Something very important you must understand about the altars is that they are very well defended. In addition to, well, they're in cultist cells, so there are cultists around who, again, basically have the gift of immortality while they're within range. There are also these crystal formations, and any attacks on the altar will cause basically these spirits to appear that will also attempt to defend the altar. So, destroying one of these, and they are very substantial stone altars, is a very dangerous endeavor. The crystals can be destroyed temporarily, but while the altar's alive, the crystals can regrow. And the crystals themselves are not trivially easy to destroy. And so far, we've seen clusters of roughly a dozen, 10 to 12 so far. So, should you have anybody else find one of these, just know that they're going to need to mount a very aggressive attack on it. Um, my
And not
recommendation
only
is
that, that same altar is what makes the cultists regenerate. So you'll have regenerating cultists as well as these death spirits attacking you. So yeah, as he says. Sorry to interrupt.
It's a wonder you're alive. Speaking of which, do either of you know, since you've been looking into these cult matters, what possible motive did the cultists have to destroy the Red Carpentry Guild?
Um, I believe they had the altar under the Red Carpentry Guild, and I am thinking, I'm thinking either the cultists were fighting amongst themselves. I mean, they did say, that was we believe that there might have been one of these altars there. Maybe,
So you think they killed
maybe a lot of
themselves?
things.
They attacked
Um,
themselves?
well,
well,
as we
I
were
would put
doing
it this way. Um,
our
I would
they were
they're
backstabbing
getting
and
into
infighting a bit.
they're getting into very dangerous things, very unstable powers. I think it's safe to say that these cultists perhaps got in over their heads, but we cannot count on similar carelessness elsewhere.
Although I've heard rumor, and may just be rumor, and there may be nothing to it, but I've heard rumor that um, a a certain guild had agents in the area for unrelated matters. And according to the rumor, the Nexus Guild may have some inkling at who's involved, although I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, if they do, they haven't told us.
Well, good to know then. Well, I don't have much more. I mainly,
Oh, the lady we were following, etc.
yes,
Just so you know, she no longer seems to be much of a problem because she was fired. I mean,
really.
we as we were sneaking around and following her and then listening and gathering our information and evidence covertly, we did overhear and then later receive confirmation that since she had been doing such a horrible job, she's literally fired from being their messenger from point to point now.
He scratches his head and kind of chuckles, and says, "So you're a noble who is working for a criminal organization, and you get fired. How incompetent do you have to be?"
Apparently, she was.
Yeah. Uh, Although I'm wondering if maybe she still needs to be dealt with somehow. I mean, I don't think she's a significant danger for this plot. In fact, although actually, arguably, she's actually been a great asset for us. I do have to feel bad for the staff here who have been given a difficult time from her family just for terrible deeds that are her fault. I shudder to think of how many people may be dead because of her.
Perhaps, but it may not be the most powerful noble family, but she is still among them. Perhaps not. Perhaps now is not the best time to stir up that hornet's nest unless you absolutely need to.
Although out of curiosity, I don't remember if you had mentioned it before. Which house is she part of?
The Neilwit family.
How's that spelled?
I'll go ahead and type it in here.
All right.
Uh, they um, they are they are one of the houses that their main their estates within the city were confiscated for one of the foreign houses, and they had their main estates had to leave the city, and they've honestly held a bit of a grudge since then. Although obviously most of the house isn't plotting with criminals, but of course when you have discontent, you will have members going rogue.
Indeed. Um, as far as this blue sand, which is, I mean, the gray cult is certainly involved. But, people distributing it aren't necessarily directly. We unfortunately don't have a whole lot of information there, although
Were you able to acquire any documents from your excursions?
Yes, we do have some evidence, but I do not have it here with me. I've been running around all day. I can get it to you.
yeah, we still needed to kind of review it more. Unfortunately, this past week has been so chaotic, for lack of a better term, and oh, I can't wait to get some rest.
Yeah, he kind of
Um,
eyes you, and he's like, "Yeah, you. I don't think I've ever seen you this tired. I'm surprised you're still awake."
and the day's not over yet. Out of curiosity, I mean, I realize these are probably aliases, but do the names Ziago or Graviton or ring a bell to you at all?
Shakes his head. I don't think so.
Or how about Johanna Onimus or Item Lamarck?
No, I don't. None of those ring a bell. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
these are some people that we have reason to believe are associated with the blue sand distribution, which means they could potentially also be tied to the gray cult. I realize that these could simply be aliases, particularly in the case of Ziago and Graviton. Um, but any lead is better than nothing.
Indeed. Well, I will certainly look into it through my own contacts, of course, and contact you. Do I get if I get any information? As far as whatever documents you have that you have managed to acquire, perhaps some of that can also give you new leads. If you find out that you have not chopped off the head of the snake, then and you do find out where their headquarters might actually be sure to contact me if possible.
Of course. Will we be able to find you here as usual? I mean, we got your message, but I was planning on stopping by here tonight anyway, just in case.
Yeah, I have other business to attend to, so I will actually be here most nights for the next month or so.
All right. Perfect.
Well, then, it is good to see you're alive, and I managed to stay alive myself, despite that assassin. So, um, if there is nothing else, I will hopefully speak to you in the near future.
Have nothing else? Yeah, we'll review the documents and we'll share with you what we find. Yeah, if we had more time, we'd have done that already.
Good, I will be in contact with you soon.
All right, let's finish the drinks, then we'll go ahead and head on our way.
Okay, do you, as a group, do anything else at the Golden Dice?
Oreo, Devok, you guys got anything?
Nope. Just been
Yeah.
waiting for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take you to the map then. So you are currently at the Golden Dice. So what are you going to do next?
The last big thing we've got is for midnight. That whole remember the Walpurgin thing.
Okay, so you go back to the Guildhall district, which you notice is still full of guards. I'm sure you're shocked. I'm assuming that you avoid the guards, and which Guildhall are you going to?
Um, well,
Or are you going somewhere else?
well, we've got the whole because the message was Celium 15th midnight. Remember the Walpurgin at the Guildhall this time. Um, is there actually a Walpurgin Guildhall?
No.
What?
Although you did
Do we
have
know
some
what a
potential
Walpurgin is?
information that you'd found previously about related guilds.
Right. What about the actual word Walpurgin? Do we know what that is? Is it a name? Is it a place? Is it a person? Is it a
It's probably the name
tree?
of something.
Okay. Then
But
I
when you were
was
dealing with the arena and that whole thing, you had found multiple pieces of evidence, and that included various guild information. If
okay.
you
Yeah, I know we have like the guild medallions for the smithing guild, the metal smithing guild, but do we know if that's the name? If its name is Walpurgin?
its name was not, but you wouldn't expect the event and the guild to have the same name.
Hey, Pico, I don't suppose you asked your librarian friend if she knew what the word Walpurgin was.
Uh,
I
I
think we
could
should have looked that
check.
up, eh?
But man, this is gonna be hard to get over there, and I'm gonna have to rush this time of day. How far away is the library?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or sorry, 6. So probably about half an hour.
And that's normal travel.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be an hour for me.
Wait, so where's you said the library is where you're trying to go?
I have an idea. Why do you not just write a note real quick, and we can hand it to our very speedy friend, and she can bring a reply back lickety splits.
Well, unless you've been.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, though, the library from where you are now is actually on the way. The actual Guildhall district is about 40 minutes away, and you could pass through the library on your way to get there.
Oh,
Well,
in that
let's
case,
let's just go there because waiting for you to summon Char is gonna take longer than me hobbling my way over there anyway.
oh yes, I was going to need to summon Char. Just out of curiosity, you know how you can see through Char's eyes?
Okay.
Can I do that right now? Because he's not really dead.
No, when he's
I'm just
not
curious
summoned, you
as to
can't.
what his
No,
extra
no. When he's
plane
not
here.
in this plane, you can't see through his eyes. It only works when you've summoned him.
Oh, so it's I can't see his little extra dimension that he
Yeah,
pops into
exactly.
whenever.
You summon him and he pops in, but you don't have any other access.
Just curious, just
No,
wanted
no
to
problem.
know.
I mean, it was an interesting question, but not in this case.
Yeah, I was just curious because whenever I snap my fingers and pop him out of existence, I mean, is he just floating in this big void of space, or does he have his own little nest in a tree in some place to
I
curl
assume
up and
he has
take a
some other
nap?
dimension where these things live, probably multiple dimensions, and you're just pulling from one of them. Um, but yeah, you don't have access across that dimensional divide.
Okay,
Anyway,
it's just a question.
yep.
Sorry.
So what are you guys gonna do?
I guess we'll swing by the library.
Okay.
Okay, I can
As
go ahead and
oh, sorry. Go
stay
ahead.
back and I can stay back and summon Char while they do that. I'll catch up.
Okay. All right, so you go to the library and you see them packing up. So what do you do? All right, packing up to close.
Yeah. Um. Hey, Wallace. Sorry about the last minute request. But just a little quick thing. Does the name Walpurgin mean anything to you?
Mm, I think I've heard it before. It was I believe it was at one point in time connected to some sort of organization. Let me check for you. She seems to go through her own notebook. She's like, "Oh yeah, apparently, you are you familiar with the Sword of Justice?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Anyway, apparently they have some sort of big event they have once a year, and I believe that's what it's called.
Oh, Walpurgin.
Normally, actually, I don't know where it normally happens, honestly. Um, but yeah, I don't know when actually what time of year is, and it's just this is mainly just a rumor because I was kind of looking into them a little bit at one point in time, um, but I haven't really heard anything about them recently. So yeah, that's about all I know.
So does the Sword of Justice have like a formal guild hall or something?
No, they're not allowed in the city or anything. Uh, they uh, they tend to be considered more of a extremist group, I guess you'd call them.
Uh-huh.
They are apparently very anti portal, anti opening the portals, all that kind of stuff. When we were trying to figure out how to do that before everything happened, they were, there to try to prevent things. But they're not exactly a legal group.
Hmm. All right. Well, I think that actually help a bit.
But yeah, actually, there was a rumor I heard something about. Don't tell any about this, but I thought I heard something about a Kylon making it to the city. and maybe they were involved. I'm not sure about that though. That might be false.
No, I'm pretty sure that's true. Yeah, what little I've heard of them, they sound like bad news.
Yeah, hopefully they're not in the city. That would be terrible. Is there anything else I can help you with before I close up?
No, that was it. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, didn't want to get you tied up after hours having to work on. So yeah, just a quick question.
All right.
Pleasure seeing you. Hope you get more rest than I'm getting.
Yeah. You need to sleep for like a week. It looks like. I mean, I know normally you look kind of, it's hard to get a read on you, but now your normal facade is gone, and you just look exhausted.
Well, looking exhausted is better than looking dead, which I get enough times.
Yeah.
All right, well, enjoy the evening, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon with yet another request.
All right then. Okay, so you leave the library. What do you do from there?
All right. So where did Ragu go to do this find familiar thing?
I think he just kind of stayed behind
Just
to cast it, and
yeah,
then he
just
said he's going to catch up.
yeah. I just kind of stayed behind to cast it, and I'm supposed to meet you guys in front of the guild hall, because that's where we were heading.
Well, if if this is a Sword of Justice Guild hall and they're underground, then do we even know where that would be? But if the Walpurgin is an event, maybe there'd be more activity associated with that.
Well, I'll go down to the guild district, and using my fresh and squeaky clean char, I can have him just circle around until he sees you guys, and then it'll home me in on where you are.
Okay, so yeah, Char is able to find them fairly quickly. I've guessed everybody's arrived at the Guildhall district, even though if you don't know exactly which guild you're going to yet.
Mhm.
Sure.
Okay, so everybody meets in the Guildhall district. Um, you can still see that there are plenty of guards kind of moving around. You can see that the fires have been put out um, from the event. Um, Otherwise, what do you do?
What time is it right now?
Let's see, an hour. So probably between 8 and 9 o'clock.
All right.
What is it that the people at the library told you the thing was about again? Sorry, I'm just did not hear it because I left that as something that only Pico would have been doing anyway.
No worries. The Walpurgin, if I understood correctly, is like a tournament of sorts or something like that. So it's an event. So it would make sense for them to hold that event at a place like a guild hall. And it is associated with the Sword of Justice, so this means it's an underground sort of thing. I mean, not necessarily literally underground, although it could be, but not a in the open sort of go to the Sword of Justice Guild.
Okay. Quick question for you, Jeremy. The guild that I pertain to individually, is that in this area too?
Yeah. No. No. Yeah. It is. Sorry. Yeah, it is.
Um, Taking that piece of information, if we still don't know exactly where it is, maybe give me a couple of minutes? She says a little bit questioning, like she doesn't really know, but do you guys leave her to her things?
Yeah,
Sure,
fine
sure.
by
We
me.
trust you. You are most capable. Do you want to take charge just in case for messages?
Uh, uh,
Everybody needs a Professor Thaddeus in their life.
you know what? For this, I probably won't hear. Shoot, no one's actually. Devok's attuned to it still, because even if he passed out, he still has he's still technically attuned to the ring of tracking, right?
Yeah, and he's not
And
passed
he's
out
not fat.
anymore.
Yeah. So, if anything is wrong, then Devak will know, and I take out the ring.
Okay.
True.
Okay. So I want to take off and see if make sure that no one's not being followed or anything, and make my way to the guild.
Okay, you do so. What do you do when you
And
arrive?
um, Oreo would know what kind of reading would be to kind of get in or to like make her arrival, so she'd try and do that first to make sure that people know it's her. It's not just some
Yeah,
random
no problem.
tabaxi,
No
whatever.
problem. You arrive. They know you're there.
Okay.
So you're inside.
Um,
What do you do?
so I want to talk to the folks to see if any of them have heard of any potential insights on a certain tournament by the name of the term that I was given by Pico,
Walpurgin.
Walpurgin. Um, I've got a funny feeling that maybe this event is going on, but it's not something that mm, just anyone would know. But I have a feeling that they might.
As you ask, one of them looks at you kind of weird. He's like, "Where have you heard that term?"
Someone was talking about it at the inn the other day. I was just overhearing it and it sounded weird. Kind of did a little bit of my own research and I just ended up hearing that it was some sort of tournament, but didn't know anything else. But looked suspicious enough that I thought I needed to bring it in.
Go ahead and give me a deception check. At least the part about where you heard it from.
Yeah.
It nods. I see. Yes, I have heard of such a thing, although I am surprised you have, honestly. Um,
It I hear a lot of things these days, so I just needed to be clean about what I've been hearing. I figured you guys might be the best people to, handle this kind of stuff.
sure, let's have a chat. He talks to the others who are also in the room, also members of the guild, and they leave. Uh, and they close the door behind him, and then he kind of turns around and looks towards you and says, I see. So, assuming you were able to find this Walpurgin thing, what are your intentions?
Not really to disrupt anything, by all means. If anything, I'm actually more curious about what exactly happens in this tournament. I mean, lately I don't know if you heard about the Raging Ire. These guys are part of my group that just stomped the competition. I've been really interested in. I don't know if it was something similar or something. And being the rogue that I am, and this being in the underground scene, you never know. Maybe it's something that's in my ballpark. I just really curious.
So, I have a question for you. As a fellow member of the guild, can I trust you?
Of course.
I see. He fumbles around underneath his desk for a bit, and then he pulls out a envelope with a black wax seal, and he kind of pushes it towards you, and he says, "Unfortunately, events have been conspiring to cause problems, and the event of which you speak has been delayed. However, it is to occur on the 23rd at the Metal Forgers Guild.
Metal forgers?
Yes. As you hear the name, you recognize it. It's actually on the medallion. You are
Yep.
able to.
I just wanted to be sure that's what I heard
Yep.
correctly.
And it says, well, shall we say it isn't above ground, so you'll have to sneak in at around midnight on the 23rd. And
I see.
you can bring your friends, but I would caution that disrupting the proceedings will be to your peril. And by that, I mean your personal peril.
She looks a little questioningly, like, what exactly is it that it's all about to be exact?
You will find out when you get there, now won't you? And do be a dear and come back and report what transpired. I am curious but cannot get away.
Is there anything in particular you guys are curious about in this tournament, though, that I should be extra paying attention to?
Mm, not so much us, but me. But yes, if I'm interested to see who the winner is.
I see. Um, do you know of who else is in all of this that I should maybe be concerned about if I end up participating?
Mm, I'm afraid I have given you all the information that I can. And he lifts up his arm, and the black sleeve kind of slides down, and you see a set of runes on his forearm, and
Mm,
in a deep, heavy black ink. And he says, "I have spoken as much as I can speak." And he
I
lowers
see.
his arm.
Very well. Well, you certainly have been very gracious with what you've given me, so that much I will say thank you very, very much. I will absolutely report back with what I discover or what I find or who wins, I suppose. And she says a little bit like, I don't know what's going
And at
on,
this
but
point in time, the door opens and the people come back in. Are you finished yet? It's like, yes, yes. I believe our conversation has finished. Uh,
yes. And she just quickly bows and heads off.
okay. So what do you do from there?
I, um, I'm gonna go back to the area that I last saw them, hoping that maybe they're nearby somewhere there.
Have you guys gone anywhere, or you've been waiting?
Not like I get that far.
All
Yeah.
right, you find him then.
Nope.
So is it more like they were attempting to move and I just caught them mid moving? Ah, cool. All right.
Perhaps.
We're
It'd be
attempting
more.
to stand there and look nonchalant, but we stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
It'd be
Okay.
more. It'd be more like Ragu's like, let's go do something, and I'm like, but this bench is so comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, then
It's
I will meet
Grandpa
you
at
guys.
Disneyland, never getting
Exactly.
to
That.
ride.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly how I see it. So I'm gonna go up to you guys and just say, well, certainly discovered that it's not happening tonight. Um, Not sure if we want to talk about it out in the open though, but we sure as hell don't need to be here tonight. So if we want to leave before we risk any kind of suspicion, then I think that might be the wiser move.
Oh man, I could not have asked for better news. I
Yeah,
did.
it does work.
I did not feel. I mean, I'd have participated, but boy, I would not have felt good. All right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I
So
take
once,
that to mean you head back to your inn.
mm-hmm,
Okay.
Yep.
I would hope so. And then once we're finally in, then I will go ahead and explain the that I discovered. This seems to be a tournament that is indeed very secret and has been delayed. I wonder why. And will be happening on the 23rd. They, I've been told that we can all go and sneak in. Happens to be at the Metal Forgers Guild, but I've been very heavily warned that if we interfere, it could really end up costing me quite a bit. Um, it seems to be an actual event, so there seems to be somewhat of a winner at the end of this. I just don't know what exactly this is really all about.
Hmm. That's quite interesting.
And I think that might be where we end the session, assuming you guys didn't want to do anything else this night. So actually, I'll ask that. Is there anything else you're going to do that night?
Um, not the night. What is the date? I always have a problem with the calendar
23rd.
dates.
He put it in the chat too.
No, no, no. That's when this event is happening. What
It's
is
the
the day?
15th
The
currently.
15th. Yeah,
Okay, so we have 7 days.
So
something like
here's what
that.
I'm gonna. So I should probably mention
Eight.
this. So here's what I'm planning to happen: is that you guys have been asked to go to the Nexus Guild, and unless you'll deal with that, but unless anybody feels differently, the plan is that your long rest will actually start, basically with that meeting. So is that okay with everybody? So next time we'll do it. We'll do it next time, but the idea is that that the next day you'll start your long rest. Is that okay?
Yeah, so does it mean that we can start leveling up then
Exactly.
if
That's why
the
I'm telling you
intention?
now. That's why I want to make
Yeah.
sure it's okay, so that you guys can between sessions do all your level up. And technically, your meeting in the morning will be at your previous level, but that's fine.
Right.
That won't make a difference.
Okay. I'm fine
Awesome.
with that.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to say that you guys slept overnight. We'll start up on the 16th in the morning before your meeting, and I will set up experience points.
Oh, yeah. Pico, take your con roll to get rid of one more level of exhaustion.
Yeah, I can try
Resource.
it. Although I guess if we're going into a long rest, that'll probably solve itself.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
that's
you're
just
going in a
fine.
long rest, you're going to get training. They'll heal you up. You'll get back all your spell slots, all your levels of exhaustion, all that fun stuff. So that'd be 700.
As far as errors go, I don't I don't know if the charisma check passed or not. Would I have known if he looked convinced or not?
You're pretty sure it passed, actually.
Okay, okay, good. I just want to be sure.
Let's see, 600, 900. Okay. So yeah, I'm just totaling everything up now. 100 plus 350 plus 900 plus 350. Okay. Okay, so Oreo, did you actually fail anything?
No, that's why I was asking about that one thing.
Okay. Pika, how about you?
I don't think so. I'm looking. Uh, I think most of the failures were actually on the part of the apes.
All right. And I know Ragu failed at least once.
I failed
Yeah.
everything.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the consciousness several times.
I failed every single roll I made.
So there you go. There is the session for session 43. 2,300 experience points. Oreo and Pico, Galen and Ire don't get anything by learning by failure. Ragu gets 175, and Davak, by failing everything, gets an extra 350.